Last we left off, the Wildcards were preparing for dinner with old friends and some potential new ones. You bathed, shopped, and otherwise entertained yourselves for a short while before making your way to Whitethorn Hall. Within, you once again made pleasantries with Lord and Lady Delarian and met one of three hopeful contenders for the position of headmaster of the College of Whitethorn, Arthur Locke. As conversation flowed between yourselves and your fellow guests, you met the other two contenders, the illusion expert Aurora and the abjurer Elliot Silverthread. Conversation was a mixture of prickly and probing, but nonetheless you managed to gauge the mages a touch before settling in for a grand feast. A quiet day's respite, ending with a relatively calm evening. You all slowly broke away from one another. Mary and Alexander sharing a quiet moment overlooking their city, Hondo and the Grey Lady slipping off for some less calm activity, and the remaining four of you, with pets in tow, wandered your way through the streets, out the city gates, and onto the keep that was granted to you for your services rendered many, many moons ago. With a roaring hearth, you all found comfort and slumber in the great hall of the keep, though some of your rest was less quiet than you would prefer. Lavender, your mind wandered to the vision of your mother, shown to you by the Angel of Death. Gord, your now idle mind having time to finally process the traumatic experiences and changes you've undergone. You dreamt of the pits below and the foreboding journey your patron has set you on. In Hondo, your dreams of sailing began normal, but swiftly turned dark. Be it a grim portent, a warning, or simply a fearful nightmare, rest did come to find you after watching the sea and sky burn. And as dawn breaks, you all continue to sleep, allowing yourselves to rest a little while longer. But as you all do begin to come to in your respective places, you have a number of things to attend to as you see fit. A check-in with the Redmane Seat of Power, familial and friendly check-ins in Verdantia, reacquiring the college, Deepwinter's Day rapidly approaching, and the call of the Platinum Sanctuary and these relics of power that lay scattered across the realms. So, what do you all want to do?
My God, thank you for reminding us of all the shit we have to do. Could I... We gotta... Some of our equipment, we just gotta do some, administrative tasks on. Do we ever use the spell gem?
Yeah, I used it, so both of them got used.
Both have been burned.
I don't have those tonight. I think I'll wake up and be like, where's Mary? I should use that spell gem. I should replenish that for her. Brawl, you see her
show back up.
Brawl, you see her come in the keep last night at all when we were sleeping?
No, I don't think so. Wasn't she here already? Oh no, she wasn't.
She went on that long walk, man. I can't.
She would have come back though.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Gord, did you see her? Did you have a good sleep? My cat friend, Gord?
I slept amazing.
That's so good to hear. I can tell the jubilation in your voice from being home. It's really done wonders for you. Did you see Mary at all, Gord? Did you see her come back? Our friend, she's dark, brown hair, sometimes in a braid. Do you see her?
Why haven't you asked me yet?
Oh, I thought you were still asleep. You usually sleep the longest.
I'm awake now.
Did you see Mary come in last night?
No, but I had a crazy dream. Does anyone want to talk about it? Oh yeah, where's Mary?
No, you have a dream. You
did.
Stole our thunder. Let's talk about it.
Raleigh, I saw my mom in my dream.
You did?
Saw your mom in your dream?
I'm talking to Raleigh.
You're whispering. She's right next to me.
I'm whispering in her ear.
All right.
Yeah, she was like there and then she was floating away, so I don't know what that means.
You know, I've had dreams.
You're getting further away from her.
That's my fear.
Do you think it was like a dream? I just heard you talking about a dream. Then you kind of whispered in Brawley's ear, but we're all 2 feet away from each other having breakfast, I presume.
No, I actually think it's okay that we talk about this.
So did you think it was a dream or like a vision? Like when the Dark Crow was haunting me or the Summer Queen was granting me visions?
It felt a little bit more real than a dream.
Could be, yeah, like your chaos magic, I don't know, working in tandem with your dreams to try and send you a message.
Well, did you have a dream, Val?
I did have a dream. Yeah.
You did?
Did
What
it
was
make
yours?
sense for your life?
My dream was just me and Ted were hanging out. And then Hondo tried to stab him, but then Ted ended up actually murdering him. And it was a really fun dream, just the way he did it. It was pretty cute.
So my thing's more serious, more like a vision. We don't know where Mary is, but yet you're filling the time telling us this dream.
First off, someone asked me if I had a dream. Two, that could have been a vision.
Yes
I don't
or
like
no
you just discounting it. Yeah, I thought it was important to bring up. Yes is the answer.
I'm not a morning person. I don't know why I'm being so sassy.
Feels like you're not an afternoon or night person either.
Hey, where's Hondo?
Who?
With that, Hondo and Mary. Well, we'll start with Mary. Would you have made your way back to the keep before first light, or would you have stayed in Arendelle?
I would have stayed in the city.
Okay.
I think I even said the night before that I was going to stay in the city.
I was pretty confident, but I wanted to make sure before people started looking through the house that you weren't actually in the
No,
house.
I'm not actually there.
So yeah, you were still within the city. Hondo, as you come to, as you had previously said, you stayed with the Grey Lady, and you groggily wake up, recalling the night's events fondly, I hope, and you vaguely recall making your way through, following a similar path to the rest of the party towards the eastern gates that would lead out to your keep, being led to this kind of lavish manor house in a rather well-to-do part of Upper Arendelle. And as you awake, you are alone in this bed, this four-post bed. It's kind of gossamer drapes hanging around the edges and silk sheets. It's rather nice. You recall, as you were kind of being led through the house and continuing your evening, a rather nice and relatively large abode, but you do find yourself alone with a in this bedroom. Your armor and weaponry and everything kind of skewed around the room, and you see there is a somewhat cool cup of tea on a bedside table beside you, and a small note that says in the conservatory.
Oh, so I see the tea and the note says in the conservatory?
You flip over and it just says in the conservatory, and there's just a little dash with a G.
Okay, so I would have dumped the tea on the ground to make it look like I drank it, and then I would take the note.
Okay.
And I guess go to the conservatory.
Sure.
Are you putting all your stuff on, or is Hondo still naked? That's the question.
I'll go in with my sword only.
With frostbite?
Oh,
Okay.
what one?
A scream from Lavender.
Sorry, I thought you were still muted.
You see your armor, and you see your belt where your scabbard for frostbite sits, and you are more than welcome to strap that on as you walk shirt cocking it through the Grey Lady's manor. But
Gotta exert my power.
sure. You make your way through and do indeed find a lavish, well-to-do manor house that you, I don't know, ever have really stayed within, especially in such company. But you find your way quickly to where the Grey Lady is in the conservatory, and you can see this kind of small garden opening out the back, and this kind of domed glass room in the middle of which she's kind of sitting. There's a couple of seats, rather plush-looking seats, a table, and you can see another a pot presumably of more tea, and she's sitting there in this kind of long like nightgown that's kind of cinched at the waist. She sees you come in. She gives you a little smile. Says, I wondered if you would ever wake.
Well, I worked up quite an appetite, so gotta build up a bit of energy,
Of course. If you're interested, there's tea, and I have some breakfast here before you head out on your way. But before you do go, please take a seat. Before you go, You may want this back. And she kind of reaches beneath the table and tosses you Whisper. You catch the blade. She says, "You've certainly come a long way since our first meeting. My eyes did not deceive me last night. You're not the only one of your group who bears such powerful artifacts, yes?"
We're an elite band of renegades, I guess you could say.
That's one way to put it. Where did you come across that?
My lady, we've been through many adventures. We have been through the abyss. We have been through hell. We have been through the Cal. We have encountered many characters and many things.
It's a very
Why do you
vague
ask?
non-answer. Well, perhaps a conversation for your greater group for another time. And I know your group is rather powerful, connected to things larger than simple bureaucracy and reconciliation. Clearly wearing at least 3 of these relics. You've seen something. You've acted through something. Call it professional curiosity, call it interest in at least one of your party. But if you seek more things, such as this, gesturing to Whisper, she says, I may be able to help when the time is right. A proper discussion to be had, I believe.
Well, why don't you come and join us, and we can talk. I have to admit that I'm usually under the influence most of the time, so I can't remember 2 days back. So that is why I'm not the best person to talk to.
No, I prefer your company for a more physical presence. But if you would rouse the rest of your group at a later time, I would be more than happy to entertain for an evening and perhaps discuss with the greater group. But not today. I do have some things I need to attend to. Maybe this evening at the earliest, but you let me know and perhaps we can work something out.
I will definitely think tonight is possible. I will talk to them. I think you might like a few of them. You know, Lavender, I think you might get along well with. You know, Valentine, he's a bit of a show-off, but you might like him too.
Valentine is a bit too much of a pretty boy for me, but this new Lavender, she seems intriguing at the very least. Yes, perhaps tonight if you are available with your group. But for now, like I say, I have some things to attend to, so perhaps run along for now and we'll reconvene another night.
I grab the pot of tea and I just open it and just gulp it down, and then I say, I bid you adieu.
You gulp it down and you take 3 points of basically scalding damage as you scald the back of your throat with very fresh, very hot coffee. Very hot tea. No. You put the pot down, gulping and gasping, taking 3 points of damage.
You're not okay.
She just kind of chuckles and then grabs the teapot and begins pouring herself a cup. And just kind of nods as you make your way out, recollecting the rest of your armor pieces and setting out on your day through Arendelle.
Fucking perfect. Great scene. Great scene.
For the purposes of expediency, we can say everyone reconvenes towards the keep or wherever a point would make the most sense. I believe the keep would make the most sense. But
QQ, I missed the actual decision there. Mary, did you come home or did you stay out? Okay.
No, she said that she was going to stay in the city that night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And then
so we wouldn't be that concerned. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd come back. I'd probably bring coffee from the little thing on the what's it called? Bazaar.
The bazaar.
On the way.
What a delight.
The bazaar.
Maybe some croissants.
Some fish.
Long walk for some croissants.
Fresh confectionery.
Yeah, then let's meet at the keep. Keep sounds good.
You guys are, the vast majority of you are already there. I would say Hondo and Mary probably would have been up a little earlier than the rest of you. The rest of you with just the fire in the hearth and just the comfort and just full drained of activity from the last couple of days. You slept in a little bit longer, but as Hondo and Mary do re-enter the keep, we'll say maybe you guys have been awake for 45 minutes to an hour, those of you who were in the keep already, and it's not quite midday. It's maybe 10, 11 o'clock, but much later than you're typically used to getting a day started.
Could I have started the process of unattuned Pearl of Power attuned to Crystal Ball?
Yeah, for sure. I could say you're done that by by this point.
Perfect. Let me switch that. Mary, did you bring coffee?
Yeah, it's probably kind of cold. We might need to heat it up, but
I don't care. It's just the greatest gift you could have given. Did you have a good night?
it was nice to be home. It's been a while.
Good to hear.
Hondo, I can't tell if you got any sleep or not.
Didn't get much sleep. I just got a lot of satisfaction.
All right.
All right.
I regret asking.
Oh, which I do bring good news, depending on how you interpret it. We have been.
Do we want to hear this?
Yes.
Because I mean, we've heard.
I don't need to share my exploits. We're used to that by now. But
You will.
we have been invited by the Grey Lady to her place tonight. I believe she said that she can help us find some more artifacts that we have been hunting for.
Oh wow.
What kind of artifacts?
Like
Well, you know, like whisper type artifacts.
Oh, yeah.
And she specifically likes you, Lav. Valentine, not so much a fan.
Well, obviously she likes me. I'm so cool. I make such a good first impression.
maybe you.
I liked her too.
Did you mix up our names? Like, do you think she was confused because they're so similar?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know about that, but you can talk to her.
What do you mean you don't know about that? Obviously she didn't mix it up.
I'm sure, but he can warm up to her. You can talk to her, schmooze her, whatever you want.
Warm up to her. We were so tight.
She can warm up to her, but she needs to warm up to him. You're a little bit tongue-tied. Are you tired?
I'm not tired. I did burn myself recently. That might be the reason.
Yeah, the front of your scales are a little scolded.
I had a pot of tea, of coffee.
Is that a euphemism for something else?
No, I literally had a whole pot of coffee. I did not realize it was fresh.
Oh.
All right. Well, that sounds interesting. Cool. Sorry, I had to get that image out of my head for a bit.
The pot of tea?
No, the way, like, what that could have meant to Hondo.
Oh.
What do we want to do here, guys? We got this. We know there is an opportunity to try and get into this tower that was once Raymond's and work our way up these floors. Who knows what kind of magical shit we're gonna have to deal with there. But we also got some other stuff to do. Hondo, great call with the Grey Lady offering us some research on artifacts. Brawley.
Maybe help us get in to.
Say that again, sorry?
They may help us get into Raymond's place for all you know, these artifacts.
Great point. There is the kind of concern that Raymond could come back there, so I don't know how urgent it is to figure that out.
Admittedly, that's why I think it might make more sense to do it sooner than later. I mean, they're recovering too.
That's a good point. Really good point.
And the sooner we can get, shut him out of whatever that is, the less time he has with his own research, which is own information.
Brawley, maybe you could send a message to Haldor Battleborn, because that's our only line of communication to them, right? I don't think we have anything else.
You have the diplomat's pouch still.
That's right. You have a stone, I have the pouch. Or the.
You know what might actually, obviously this would be your call, Elena, but Valentine, I wonder if it's worth using the diplomat's pouch to ask Haldor to give the stone to Baldora. Then
I love that.
Elena can, talk to her whenever she wants, touch in personally.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So I could write a letter to him. I was also thinking we could ask, hey, could we set up a meeting between you and the Delarians? Then as well, I was thinking it might be fun to spend Deep Winter's Day there, like in Haberfeld or Hammerstock. We could use my teleportation abilities to go there to spend time with your family. Or we could spend it here. It's whatever you
Really?
guys want. Yeah, I mean, like, you guys got to experience Deep Winter's Day. I'm trying to hype it up, and no one seems to be on the same level. Like, it's
I don't
fun.
think
We're on the same
anyone
level.
quite just understands the experience. But I mean, in theory, of course, it's all relying on you, Valentine, but we could be in a couple different places in a day now if we wanted.
Oh my God.
Oh,
you're
that's
right.
true.
You're right. We could spend 3 different Deep Winter's Days as if we're visiting a bunch of different family members.
Like when you're 10 and it's like, we gotta go see the grandparents. Now we gotta go
Right.
see the next grandparents.
It's like the Reese Witherspoon Vince Vaughn movie all over again. So we're gonna do.
Who?
That one was an elf and one was a small gnome. Adorable folks, right?
You could see your siblings too.
I know, that'd be so fun. Be really fun. We could also, if we do that, we could check in on Damascus.
We have a
That's in
lot
a
of
couple of days.
right. How many? Kyle, can you remind us of our timeline? So, not today, but tomorrow afternoon is the meeting with the council, where we're supposed to decide or help vote or whatever for who the new Raymond should be.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 days after that, and then D&D Christmas, or 1 day after that, and then D&D.
Today is the 24th of Morden. The Deep Winter's Day is the 27th of Morden. So you've got a full day today, actually kind of a half day at this point because you're getting closer to noon. Tomorrow, in the latter half of the day is your small council meeting with the Council of Arendelle, which is, and then you have a full day after that before Deep Winter's Day. You
So
basically
today's-
have 2.5 full days before you hit Deep Winter's Day. Tomorrow afternoon being a council meeting, but that only is going to take, a couple hours at most. It doesn't monopolize your whole day.
Right, but we have to at least form an opinion on
Yeah.
our options before then, which is another reason it wouldn't hurt to try to at least take a look at this tower before then.
I like that idea. We could go right now, like after breakfast. Check out this tower.
But then you also mentioned wanting to, I think it wouldn't hurt to at least get in touch with other allies, start sowing those seeds. And you're right, talking to Damascus and admittedly briefing Uth at some point. I mean, those two things could be tied.
DM, the read runners that Rowan, my brother, works for, is that a just Verdantia message service, or is that like a...
It is primarily Verdantia. It's primarily Exander, so like the province, but it is mostly in Verdantia, and then there are a select few that go beyond for more money. There are a couple of established routes back and forth between Arendelle and Verdantia, but not a whole lot beyond that.
But that's like a courier service. That's not like magic. Okay, good. Yeah. So it wouldn't be worth, like, we could move faster than that. Like,
Oh yeah, you guys could be there in literally seconds.
Heartbeat.
I also
And then-
asked those one guys about this different planes and everything, and I haven't got that information yet.
Yeah, Jinx and Rabbit, they said, I think in 2 more days. 1 more day and then another day.
You guys have like,
I think it was 4 days total or something, wasn't
it
it?
was 10 days total.
Oh.
Let me double check my notes.
Oh, I thought it was day 3, get presents from Jinx and Rabbit.
Hang on. I've got it written here somewhere. Just give me a second. I think it was like, because it was basically everything you guys wanted to get found and acquired over time. All of your deliveries will arrive the 33rd of Morden.
33rd?
Yeah.
These fucking months in this mysterious place.
It was 10 days. Hondo has paid half. Allie has paid full. Mary has paid half. Lavender, price to be determined for information on the place you saw in her vision, mostly because you went to bed. Gord paid and delivered.
Lol.
Gord paid and delivered Ring of Evasion, so he currently has that. Everybody else did not receive their items of interest until delivery. They happen to have the Ring of Evasion on the hand, so Gord has that. Allie and Hondo had also expressed interest in tattoos, which was to be done on the day of delivery on the 33rd, should you guys still be interested in those. But we can talk about that on that day, not now.
And what's the numeral of today? Like, what is
Today is the 24th.
24, got it.
Yeah, you guys, that was yesterday.
Yeah. Long day.
Yeah.
Some of us. Cool. Well, I feel good about why don't we enjoy this breakfast. I'm going to write a note to Haldor and say, hey, could you pass on the stone to Valdora, if that's cool? So Brawley and her could talk. Also, we'd love to set up a meeting. Could we come in the next couple of days? And I'll just see what they say from there.
Sure.
Anything else we want to communicate there?
I mean, once that happens, I think those stones are once a day, right? So in theory, we could check in regularly. We talked about trying to use this time, obviously, not that we have to get it all done in one day, but we do have a couple tools to be used over the next month until the next moon to try to get as much information as possible. We have the crystal ball. I know your sword can do some weird pulling, information out of nowhere thing.
Val, as you finish writing your note and Mary suggests some of your other items, there is a response to the diplomat's pouch.
Great.
You see some heavy, thick scroll work come out, a little chunkier, in common, that says, most certainly, and we look forward to your arrival.
Great. So I think, too, if we wait a bit, maybe you'll be able to use your stone to talk to your sister, probably, if you want to do that, too. But
Yeah,
that's
that
great.
works for me.
They're down for us to join. That's pretty cool. And that's a great point, Mary. Yeah, Aetherius and he's seen some shit, especially through channeling the past wielders of him. So if there's anything, the vibe I get from him is it has to be, like, significant. We couldn't ask him, like, about Hondo's, like, fucking floppy salmon shit. No one would hear about that. But if it was something cool, then maybe we could hear about it. So, something to think about. And then I think I'll save the crystal ball just in case we need it later. But if we don't find a use for it tonight before bed, I'll scry on Francis just to see if he's home from visiting the elves. You guys want to hit up a magical tower where our former ally and now archenemy used to live?
At least,
We should investigate.
at the very least, get a look at it. Try to chat a little more with our 3 candidates.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I took a look at them, so I'm going to be relying on information from.
I believe
you guys talked most.
Yeah, I think I upset all of them. Maybe there's one I could still upset, so I can work on that today.
Okay. You guys begin to set off from your keep, keeping in mind as well, not that it is of immediate importance, but it was something that was mentioned in the last game. Your keep is not fully furnished. You guys just did sleep in a big cuddle pile in front of the fire, but that's because there's not much else in there. So if that's something you're interested in, keep that in mind as well. But you guys make your way after a delicious breakfast, rejuvenated with some very, very good coffee compared to what you're normally used to on the road.
Can I jump in for 1 sec?
Sure.
What if we call the keep the deck, as in like the Wildcards deck? Huh? I
like it.
Okay, we're in. I'll
Sure.
work on a sign. By that I mean commission someone to make a dope sign.
I mean, you got artists in the group.
Do we?
Our house of cards, if you will.
Oh!
Fuck, House of the Cards is good too.
Full house. There's all sorts of.
Fuck, there's so many good things.
So good.
That is really good.
All right, we'll workshop several names. Damn, that's a lot. Let me write it down.
Cheering your way through the streets as you discover new names to call this home you've had for months. You make your way up again through Upper Arendelle, retreading the steps from the previous night and this morning for Hondo. And it does, again, take a bit of time. Your keep is outside the city. You have to pass through the eastern gates and make your way uphill, essentially, towards the castle. However, as previously established, the guard presence here is heavier, though there is still an air of recognition across you all. Mary is the only one who this matters for. Are you rocking the hat of disguise to look different, or are you now just wearing plate of the Valkyrie freely?
I would probably shit. It depends. If I knew we were going to go in the tower. Okay, I would probably.
If you need to change out attunements or anything like that, you have the time.
That's what I mean. So I probably would have worn the hat in, but then if we're gonna go in the tower, we don't know what we're gonna go up against. I'd probably reattune to my bracers just in case. And then while I was like back in Lower Arendelle, snagged because I had got rid of my previous big ass cloak because I gave it to somebody. Snag another one from home so I can at least try to like.
Just cover up a bit?
A little bit, yeah. It's just a little ostentatious to walk around your hometown.
Sure.
In the shittiest part of town, in this ridiculously shiny
like platinum shining armor. Yeah.
Disagree.
But it also, getting another cloak, this day is a little cooler than the last few have. And though it is not heavily snowing, there is a faint drift of snow, and a cold breeze is blowing down this main drag up towards Whitethorn Hall. So you do pull your cloaks tight and kind of stand a little tighter as the morning coffee begins to kind of, its heat begins to wane. But you do make your way to the outskirts of the Whitethorn Hall gates. And again, guard presence recognizes you, assuming you're on some kind of official business. You are allowed in without question. I should say not without question. They do come forward asking if they can aid you in direction of where you need to be. And very quickly, if you guys mention the tower, they just begin leading you with a small guard of 2 guards. Just begins leading you, just not aggressively whatsoever, just literally leading you as a courtesy. And to the west of the main hall, kind of around a courtyard, and passing over some now kind of snow-dappled and slightly dying gardens, you see the stereotypical tower of Whitethorn College. It's these heavy stones, these like river wash looking stones that are cemented up on top of one another in a roughly 30-40 foot tall cylindrical tower. There is a 2-step rise up to the base of this tower, and surrounding it in these kind of half moon thin gardens that are now bare. You can see like there are rose bushes that do not currently bear flower, but they are kind of circling the tower in these somewhat half moons, leading somewhere area for like walkways and garden. The top of the tower, you notice, is in the typical battlements. Every 3 or 4 feet, there is a wide section that is cut away for what would be archers to shoot through, or other, in this case, arcane practitioners to look down and fire down from if need be. And you can see that there are indeed some thin slit-like windows set within the actual wall, the curved wall of the tower. And you can see a faint light within, but you can't see any definition. It's almost like just a light has been placed up against this tower, almost like an illusion. And as you do recall, you do not see a door.
I'll just try and stay confident. Are the guards still leading us towards it?
They stop about 15 feet shy and just kind of gesture, and as you guys continue, they begin to leave.
Mary, do you know where the front door is? Like, is there a knocker or something?
What I remember last time, Raymond just walked us into the side of the building, but I don't know where that point is. Is there snow on the ground?
Only like a very faint dusting.
So does that mean we could see if someone, like if there are footprints?
You could certainly try. Make a survival check.
Smart.
Trace amounts of snow.
16.
You can see that there is a section of snow facing off to like the north, almost directly north, where there is an obvious set of footprints that have scuffed and moved away the little dusting of snow here, and but there's no door there either. Like there's no obvious entryway.
I don't remember how to get in.
That's okay. I'm good at this stuff. I'll just walk straight forward and just like have my hand out to place it on the tower.
as your hand is maybe an inch from touching it, you feel this electric shock almost begin to grow, like a static shock, and it just kind of buzzes a bit, and as you kind of pull your hand back, immediately in front, just fading away the stone, you see a door being pulled within, and you see the kind of bubbly purple tiefling with the speckled face of Aurora in the white robe and kind of hooded white robe that you saw her in the night previous, and her hair is kind of pulled back in this faint braid between her horns, and immediately there's like a furrowed look that suddenly widens to a smile and says, "Oh, well, we weren't sure exactly who was coming to the school today, but it was wonderful to see you all. Come in.
Hey,
come in."
Aurora. Oh, thanks. So you guys never in doubt. Always knew. Door was right here.
Yes, it can be very hard to find unless you know what to look for. And she kind of ushers you all in into this relatively wide foyer, as you have been within here before. There's a roaring fire in this simple kind of waiting room. It's about 30 foot in diameter, and it is cylindrical as the outside tower appears to be. You can see there are a couple of trays floating through the air, these silver trays. You can see some teapot and some cups. There's 3 tall wingback chairs surrounding a small coffee table in front of the fire. And you do not see any stairs, as she's just kind of gesturing in, and you can see a hand flick and a couple more chairs kind of begin to apparate almost out of nowhere and just begin to kind of flick over into the space to fill for as many as there are. And she says, "Apologies, I honestly wasn't sure that you were making your way over today. Is there anything I can help you with? Please help yourselves." She gestures to the tea.
Thanks.
And there's some biscuits.
Oof, oh no, be careful, there's a kettle there. Yeah, we like to be unexpected, just keep it fresh, keep it light. We, I think, just wanted to come here to get a look around, and I don't know if we're actually going to venture up the floors today, but we just kind of wanted to get eyes on the scene.
Of course. Yes. If you wanted to, we could. However, I would recommend perhaps later. We just currently have some students in training, what few there are. But there's no reason not to usher them along. These are more important matters, of course.
Appreciate that.
When you say we, does that mean your coworkers are around today as well?
Of course, Arthur and Eli are currently keeping the students occupied upstairs. But I can show you around the first 2 floors here for the time, if you wish to get an eye, as you say, before reaching the 3rd floor.
Yeah, if I can take this coffee to go, that'd be great.
Of course. If you just kind of wish it to follow you, it will.
I was going to carry it, but that sounds great. Yeah, please follow me.
It just begins kind of drifting beside you. She walks over to the fireplace and looks about you all and just grabs a sash next to a fireplace. And you watch as out of the walls, just like stones begin to kind of drift out of the wall and begin to create a staircase pulling from the stone structure of the tower itself. And they're just kind of gently floating, but as you step on, they seem very, very sturdy. And she begins kind of making her way up this kind of sphere, this cylindrical stairway. She says, "This is just a simple foyer waiting room for guests of those at the college, and for entertaining sometimes, that we don't want to bring people up higher. And as you follow me up here, she leads to a 2nd level, and you just see a similar level to the one below, though slightly larger, and you see many more chairs. There are comfier sofas, larger kind of pillow sections that are just piles of pillows. You see a couple of desks pushed off to the side for studying. There are several smaller fireplaces in here, in these kind of small, relatively like 3 or 4 comfortable kind of hangout lounge spaces. You do see some more trays kind of drifting through the space, heading towards a section in the wall, like this small alcove that the trays kind of set down on the alcove and then just kind of drops away somewhere. You see two doors on either side of the room that are currently closed, but she kind of leads up and just explains. It's a lounge. You don't see any students currently in here. It's entirely quiet and empty, though you do have a couple of drifting globules of light kind of hanging in the space, dimly lighting the space. She says, truthfully, nothing much to see in here. This is more just a hangout space, a place for the students to relax or us to get away from busy work, and but still to keep within the grounds, especially for those who don't have residence outside of the tower of the school. But the next level is where things really get down. And she begins to open one of the doors, and as she opens it, you see it ignite with a torch on the wall, just and then another, and then another, every 5 feet or so, up about a 20-foot rise of stone steps in a relatively tight walkway up this kind of curve, following the curve of the tower as you know it. At the other end, she opens this door, and immediately you hear a fervor of activity, of just voices and movement activity. You hear the flipping of pages and some muffled kind of just talking, no shouting or anything angry. But as you make your way up into this much larger room, she kind of gestures widely with her arm and says, "Welcome to the workshop and training room of the Whitethorn College. There's unfortunately not much more to the tower than this as of now, but what we have here is modest but serves its purposes." And you all kind of walk out into the this rectangular room that is much, much wider and larger than the tower should be, stretching about 150 feet in length, about 60 feet wide. You see this rectangular room. All across it, you see long work tables. There are shelves built into the stone walls themselves, all of them heavily laden with books. You see jars of spell components. You see parchment, writing implements, wells of ink, just filling every wall here, every shelf. At the far end of the room, across from where you guys are, you can see there are a handful of training dummies, similar to those used in martial weapons training, that all of you would have seen at one point or another. However, you can notice, even from a distance, at least Mary, those of you who are perceptive, Mary, Valentine, Hondo, Gord, these seem to be a little bit more covered in like a waxy kind of glisten, different than your typical kind of straw man. They have a little bit of a covering to them. And you watch as Arthur is currently kind of showcasing a student a simple fire spell. They are conjuring fire in hand and firing it towards these targets at the other end. The students are kind of jubilant at the idea of conjuring fire, and you can see at the opposite end, not directly opposite, but opposite and to like the next section of training dummies, you can see Eli is currently working with some students in a semicircle around him as he kind of hovers and is kind of lecturing and just giving a talk to some of these students who are quickly just writing everything he's saying with quill on parchment.
Sorry, quickly, how old are these students? Like, is it age vary? Is it like
make a perception check.
Little kid Harry Potter, or do they have to be like older?
Xavier's School of the Gifted. What are we talking here?
I rolled very well on this. Of course, I roll a 19 on how old are these children. 19. So it's 25.
Okay. There is a relatively wide vary, but for the most part, they are younger. They are in the late teens. Some look a little older, a little scruff around some of the men, but none more than maybe 20, 21. But the youngest you gauge is maybe 16, 17.
Okay. I would probably also, while I have them here, automatically look for not even meaning to do this and then feeling bad for doing it immediately, but making sure that everyone looks like they want to be here and like,
Sure.
you know, trying to judge overall demeanor, I guess.
Sure, that'd be an insight check.
Yeah, and then immediately regretting doing that. Of course, that I roll trash, but it's still my minimum. So what's that now? Whatever 8 plus 11 is.
19. Everyone with Arthur is certainly thrilled. They're learning how to conjure fire, and who wouldn't want to conjure fire? It's pretty cool. The students have their back to you who are learning from Eli. So it's a little more difficult to gauge theirs without like getting too close, and Mary wouldn't. But what you can tell is they're writing rapidly, like they're listening intently, and at the very least they're interested in what he has to say.
But it's still school. But
there's still an element of learning, though. It's difficult to gauge how much fun or desire they have to be there versus just being there and just working because you're there.
Yeah.
One last thing for what's everyone's passive investigations?
17.
Ooh. I think. Ooh, 19. 18.
Investigation, you
I
said?
literally thought mine
Yeah,
was
passive investigation. On the left side of your character sheet, there's a section for passive scores. Your passive perception and your investigation and your insight.
21.
Mine's 11.
Okay.
Mine's 27.
Holy shit.
That makes sense.
Wait, what's Raleigh's? It's gotta
I only have insight, perception, and bonus.
It'll be on whatever. So take whatever.
It's whatever your investigation is plus 10.
Yeah. Unless you've.
So 10?
Yeah.
0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary and Hondo, as you guys are, as Aurora's kind of leading you on the far left side of the room, away from the students and Arthur and Eli as they're kind of giving their lecture and tutorial. All of you notice the two apprentices or headmasters potential to be. They both recognize that you guys are there. There's a quick glance, and Arthur gives like a nod, and Eli just also kind of gives a nod, and they return back to what they're doing though. But as Aurora's kind of just showing you guys, and it's honestly not much more interesting than what I've described. It's just kind of a workroom for arcane students. Hondo and Mary, as you guys pass about the midway point, Aurora doesn't want to get too close to where everything's happening on the opposite side, but about midway on the far wall opposite where you entered, the two of you notice in a seemingly plain section of brick wall, there's a 5-foot section that doesn't fit right. Some of the stone doesn't quite look the same texture. It doesn't quite like line up right in a singular about 5 to 7 foot wide section, about 10 feet tall or so. Not quite the full height. It just kind of stands out a little odd to both of you.
Similar to like what we've seen, I'd imagine, when there's a fake wall or an illusory wall or something like that. Okay.
Something akin to that.
Okay.
Can I go like knock on it? Like,
sure. As you make your way close to it and you kind of put your hand to it, you knock, and you knock on not stone. And it feels more like your one knuckle kind of clips a little bit of metal, but your full hand hits wood. And yes, there is indeed some kind of illusion here masking some kind of door of some kind, to which Aurora from behind you says, "This is where things get a little complicated."
I'm assuming it's a complication you want to keep the students out of, right?
Certainly keep the students out of, and preferably if we could keep our voices down about it. She kind of begins pulling at you both away from it and just back to the far side of the room, talking in low tones.
What are you guys looking at over there?
Come here.
Oh no, do you touch something? He's always touching things. What?
There's nothing. He's just curious. She pulls you close and just says, that is the doorway to the next level up in the tower. As we described previously, it is incredibly dangerous, and we certainly don't want any of our students thinking that they can try and make their way further, and that is a challenge. It's difficult even for us. And in that illusion isn't one of ours. The day that he left, that door was there and then it disappeared.
Have you been... Sorry, I didn't realize it was a secret when I was yelling. Have you been... Have you been able to get past that? I know you mentioned there was someone who tried to, but have you guys been able to move past it?
Arthur and I made a somewhat unsuccessful venture beyond these doors. Through the doors lie our laboratory and the greater library of the college. And it's a beautiful room. It's one of the keystones of the tower. However, immediately beyond is blinding fog, impassable. And something within does not want people to move out. We only ventured in briefly before realizing that there was more here than we had hoped. We did not think we could accomplish it, the two of us. We didn't try much further, admittedly. Eli, as noted last night, scolded us for even attempting, which is foolish, but it's the only way forward, as we've seen.
You said fog, eh? There's like a really thick fog behind.
Yeah, almost like a wall, impassable. You can walk through it, but it's breathable. It's fine. It's not painful, but we couldn't wave it away. We couldn't conjure wind to disperse it. It moves when we did try, but it immediately swarms back around. And within, you're blind to anything that's trying to attack. And there are things in there trying to attack.
Mary, I can tell you got distracted by those dummies. Past this illusionary door, there's a blinding fog, super thick, almost impassable, not poisonous or anything like that, but there's also things that lurk within it that aren't too happy that you're skulking around.
Fog, that sounds familiar.
Spooky shit sounds familiar too.
Aurora kind of tilts her head for a second and says, Eli suggested to us that for whatever reason, Raymond's protections begin there and very likely run through the length of the upper reaches of the tower. Why they don't shut us out entirely, I'm truthfully not sure.
Maybe try to tempt people with more knowledge. Maybe you'll get more out of keeping you there and keeping you out.
It's possible.
Or can I ask you a magical question?
Of course. She gets immediately bubblier.
There's the teleportation circle inside somewhere in this tower, correct?
Yes, and then that bubbling just immediately falls away. Yes.
My magical question, though, is would you be able to alter the runes of a circle so that it does still work, but that it's almost like a new address for someone to try and find? More or less, could we keep this circle intact but prevent Raymond or anyone else who used to know what it is to get here?
Unfortunately, no. We would have to change the circle, and the process is simple enough. We are skilled enough that we can rewrite the sigil, as it were, but it will take some significant time and effort on our half to accomplish that, and that will be something we intend to do should we regain it. But it can take, with the three of us at the very least, it could be slightly faster, but we're talking months. It's not a quick process.
What about the the destruction? How could you stop a teleportation circle from working?
Well, we can damage the structure so that the sigils are not full. They're not. if even a single line is askew, as I'm sure you know, a single line can disrupt the entire spell. If one section is damaged enough that its core no longer sustains the proper sigils, it cannot be accessed. It would be a very simple process to damage it.
Okay.
But to rewrite it takes time.
We're good at the first part of that, not the part you're good at.
That also aligns with Arthur's thoughts as well. But Eli did have some thoughts to that as well. Not so much the rewriting, though he agrees that is something that should be done. The protections that he may be able to provide within, should someone we don't want to come through, it's possible we could have some in enough time to keep the sigil as is and possibly protect against unwanted intruders. But
that could be good. Easier said than done. We got to get there first.
Well, there's certainly that, and I admit I have my doubts that even the three of us combined, if we ever were, or even yourselves and us, that should Raymond want to be in this tower, I don't know if we could stop it.
Yeah. We've gone up against odds that we thought we weren't able to stop before, and sometimes you surprise yourself.
I have no doubt of your abilities, but I know his strength of will, and I know his power. If he needed to be here, I have to assume he could, unless we damage the structure and provide other wards that would negate anyone else from getting in that way. But like I say, that will take time.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Please.
Would we be able to make this tower invisible?
Yes, sure.
And if we did that, could we then put up an illusionary tower to trick our friend Raymond?
Yes, what you're saying is technically correct. However, Raymond is incredibly savvy to see through an illusion as you managed to do so. And I mean no disrespect to your level of intellect, but Raymond is certainly smarter than you. If you saw through that, he could see through an illusion that I create, and that's my area of expertise. We can make the tower invisible, but she kind of looks over all of you and says, I'm sure even you have ways of detecting invisible creatures or things.
You know, you kind of make a good point in that from what we've seen of Raymond, he's not a rampaging murderer. He's after order. That's what he desires. He's working with the vow because it's a means to an end to bring, in his deranged words, like suffering to an end, to enslave us all in order to create like a better world. If he wanted to, I'm sure you're right. He could teleport here, murder all of us, murder the Delirians, but that doesn't seem like something he's after.
No. I have to believe it's not. I have to believe there's at least a part of the man who taught us what we know that isn't wholly evil. And in truth, it's not a tactical move. He put himself at a great disadvantage to come here that way.
Especially alone.
Precisely. And that would be, at most, he could get a handful, which I'm sure he could get a great handful of powerful individuals, but we have a great handful of powerful individuals in yourselves. It would be a bloody fight. Not a wise move.
Kyle, during this conversation, and I just didn't want to interrupt, I'm curious to try and know your enemy on any of these three, like over the next however long it takes us to get through these conversations and stuff. Just trying to specifically, I don't know if they're leveled characters or not, but that's really all I care to know.
Okay.
Is level higher or lower than me?
Level's one of the things you can do with Know Your Enemy.
Yeah. The other things are kind of fighter specific. And
yeah, it's like stats and health.
Maybe
and
con, out of curiosity.
Yes. level is equal
Cool.
to Aurora.
Could we teleport the tower to another dimension?
It's a difficult thing to know, and truthfully, not something that it's not my area of expertise. None of us, truthfully, are masters of conjuration, but in theory, the idea of creating an extraplanar space in which the door to this tower, the tower itself becomes a facade, and we enter into a new dimension, is more or less what the tower already is doing, but it's in this dimension. In theory, we could try something, as you suggest, in a new dimension of our own making. However, unfortunately, again, that is not something that any of us currently have the ability to do. Though I believe the ability is out there. Again, it would be much to the discussion of the teleportation circle. It will take a lot of time and effort and trial and error, and obviously re-attaining control.
How long has this tower been here? Was, all of this, the floating staircase, the, all of these things, were they before Raymond, or did he make all of it?
In truth, I actually don't know. As Raymond has been headmaster of the College of Whitethorn for as long as I've been alive, I truthfully am not sure who came before him or what the grounds look like or anything. Perhaps His Majesty might know. The family obviously would have an idea. We don't necessarily have a history of the college.
Let's talk infiltration.
Perhaps before, if I may, it may be wise to have my compatriots alongside for that kind of discussion. In truth, Arthur is the tactical mind, and Eli's expertise will certainly come in handy. And I believe their lessons are going to wrap up very, very shortly. Perhaps I'll just check in with them, and if you hold out here for just a moment, we could reconvene all together.
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll have a little powwow over here.
Hang tight. And she kind of dashes off towards the other side of the school.
For you guys, I'm trying to have this conversation real quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Who was in the running for you guys for who you would say is the next headmaster or headmistress?
Mistress.
Head woman.
What are your top candidates?
Our top candidate, well, these three. There's Eli, who's got some ancestor issues. There's Arthur, seems pretty cool, but is it a secret? And then there's Aurora, who's got like fun freckles, and she's a tiefling and is kind of timid.
There's something about Aurora that feels a little off to me. She is definitely not someone who likes to totally put down Raymond. And I feel as though she still has this connection to him, this love for him, that is a little bit undying and a little bit concerning.
I feel like she has, I think that's a great point. I feel like she has an emotional connection still. I don't know if it's aligning herself with the Vow's belief, but I do feel like it's still
clouding her vision.
Yeah, there's some fresh hurt there that might play a part.
We weren't warned about the tiefling.
We were?
Oh, sorry, it was a halfling. Never mind.
You're right.
The blonde halfling.
We should try and Hondo. You should try and schmooze and see if you can, maybe try and be in with the kids. Like, hey, fellow kids, and see if there's
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That's how you get
The
in
oldest
with
member of our team, the one who's in his
40-year-old pirate Triton.
is going to be slurking around the teenagers. Actually, that's a good point.
the kids.
Looking
He's the
around,
youngest soul, though.
I think that might be a Brawley thing.
are there any blonde halflings? Since that's literally all
That's
I know.
a way better call. Way better call.
With
In this room?
a quick passive look, you see a couple of blonde figures, though none appear halfling.
Okay.
I mean, these people are illusion based. What if there was an illusion that they did to appear at a brothel? I assume you were at some sort of gentlewoman's club, Hondo. They could have just pretended to look like someone else in order to
Very true.
pay the
Let's test Aurora a bit. Let's push her. Let's see if we can push her buttons on Raymond.
Oh no,
Let's see if we can push her buttons.
Where were you guys yesterday when I was
I love this one.
I was pissing everyone off yesterday. You guys are just like flirting with the
I'm
gray lady.
Valentine. I was pissing everybody off.
I
Hondo.
was. And then here you guys are and you're like, I'm the Chaos Twins. Everybody loves me.
You're not very good at doing impressions.
I know.
Hi, I'm Valentine.
That's pretty good.
I'm beautiful. Love me. I need affirmation.
That's it. That's
So
not an impression.
stupid, eh,
That's
Hondo?
like honesty.
You totally got it.
We're all
As you guys are nearly finishing this conversation,
They're back.
the group of students begins to kind of move and all get up and begin to make their way in your direction as the three potential headmasters kind of reconvene and just kind of begin giving orders to for homework and such. But the students begin to kind of file out in your direction towards the stairway. But they're not coming back quite yet.
Maybe we should try and ask one of these kids something like, "Yo, you like whores? Do you ever go to a whorehouse? Something like
Oh my
that."
god.
Oh God, no, Valentine.
No, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm giving Hondo some sort of idea.
Yeah, no. You want Hondo to get arrested? Like,
Well, you think that's news to him?
Do you like horse?
I would never say that. That sounds terrible. But Hondo.
As you yell that out, this couple of kids like look in your direction as they're like, "Oh."
I said horse.
Horse?
In your accent, it still sounds bad, and they continue to kind of shun you.
Horse.
I love
Horses?
Are there any
Those kids for
students
sure
there
not.
that fit the profile of the person that
We saw some
Hondo found out
bloodies, but no
information about?
halflings.
You see, there are some short stature figures. There is a halfling, though not blonde, and there seems to be a gnomish figure, also not blonde. But those two are the only ones of the stout folk like level. You, interestingly enough, don't see, well, I guess not so interestingly enough, but you don't see any dwarves. You see primarily humans, a couple of half elves, one full elf, and one half orc, but primarily human.
I'm now realizing the disguising yourself to go to a brothel thing makes a lot of sense when you consider how old these kids are and how old you probably need to be to get into a brothel.
Mary, do your thing while I talk to these kids. Hey, guys, before we go to lunch,
God.
could I just call it quick? Just want to say hi.
The half orc kind of turns back to you and says, "Hey."
And you mind getting your fellow cool kids around for a sec, just a quick little talk?
Oh god.
Yeah, sure. Kind of nods his head, and there's two other, this guy and a girl who are holding hands and just kind of hanging back, but who kind of begin making their way forward. They seem mid to late teens.
Sorry, do we have all of them, or just
You
a
have
couple?
3 of them.
Son of a bitch. Where are you
I mean,
guys
you
going?
did this at the end of the trail.
I know, so I'll have to do it later. Where you guys going to lunch? You guys are going on break? What are you guys up to?
Well, we're done for the day. I'm just gonna go hang in the lounge for a bit, maybe get a bite outside.
Great. Well, why don't you guys go to the lounge? We'll meet
What's
there
good
too.
to eat there?
At the lounge?
Yeah, like what's good here? I've never been here before.
Whatever you want. Whatever you
Oh my
ask
God.
for, they bring you.
Are you serious?
Why don't we quickly go to the lounge?
That's awesome. Okay. This guy, am I right? Jesus.
They all 3 kind of like, yeah. And they're
Oh my
kind of like
God.
shaky, but they kind of start
I-
looking at you.
Can I join you guys?
They both, all 3 of them kind of look a little sketched out at that and say, I mean, I guess, if you want.
Lev, you shouldn't go with them. Your chaos magic's too unstable. You don't, you shouldn't.
Oh, you know magic? And all 3 immediately are just like all about you.
Yeah, I know magic.
You guys don't want to hang out with her. She has chaos
Auric-
magic
Or
abilities.
kind of comes up and she's like, "What?" And also I had this. Her name's
One-
Auric.
One of them kind of swishes his hand, and in his hand, you see a little crab, and he kind of jumps up, and he's like, I have one too.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Wow, Hondo has that too.
Okay,
Kinda
guys, let's go.
Looks at you, and then looks at Lavender and says, you really want to join us for lunch?
Yeah. I love trying new places, and I've been hanging out with this guy so much.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, come on. Maybe you can show us a thing or two.
Cool. Okay, I'll see you later, Valentine.
Don't go far. Okay.
You follow the three down into the lair you just came out of in the lounge as the other three headmasters begin making their way back to the main group.
Like taking candy from a baby bugbear. Easy peasy.
Arthur kind of returns and says, is your lavender friend going to join us? Or
Oh, she's doing something else.
She'll be back, I'm sure.
Okay.
She was hungry. She wanted to just grab some lunch.
Oh, sure. We can go grab some lunch if you want.
I think we just want to have a quick powwow while the kids are doing their thing.
Sure.
You know, kids, right?
Not cool with the kids, not cool with the adults. Where are you? Not a girl, not yet a woman.
I'm
Who
right
knows?
here. I'm right here.
Valentine
My
is
truth.
like the millennial of.
Perpetually caught in the middle of such a weird age.
I'm right on the cusp.
I don't even know. As Arthur's kind of looks to you and just says, right, well, Aurora gave us a quick idea that you are looking to gauge the things beyond this level.
Sorry, is Eli here too while this is happening?
Eli is just is floating alongside, just looking and listening, just kind of nodding. It says, the library and workshop and laboratory, as Aurora explained, is as far as we've gotten, and still there's not much more to know beyond that. The what wards lie beyond that, I should say. The levels above is a residence for the students who stay within the tower on the next level above the library and laboratory. It's a 2-floor residence, maybe I think there's 8 suites. And then above the residence lies the dual wing of the teleportation sigil and the headmaster's office. And beyond the headmaster's office, we've never been within, but we're relatively sure. There's a private residence in which Raymond once stayed. To the point of your blue friend here from last night, the observatory and roof access from above is equally as heavily warded, if not more so. With a very brief sojourn up top, we discover that it is indeed incredibly dangerous. And he kind of nods his head towards Eli, who is just kind of immediately. And Arthur kind of puts his hands up and says, we've had this discussion several times on our own, and I recognize the danger within, but the necessity of regaining this tower and moving forward, it's paramount.
This entire tower seems space isn't exactly what it seems. When you say, levels are above each other, are they truly above each other, or is it all arbitrary in terms of physical space?
I suppose that's a good question. And Eli jumps in and says, technically, they are in an extra dimensional space that are that you're absolutely right. None of them are directly correlated to one another except through the passageway in which you acquire access to the room. In theory, they could be laid out side by side, though our understanding of it brings us to a level up and above and below. As I noted to one of your pals last evening, this entire space exists in an extra-dimensional space, and to someone's point of potentially puncturing it and drilling our way through, the same exists from floor to floor. to puncture and break is to tear a hole in reality as we know it. I highly recommend not doing that.
So,
I agree.
Roof access may not mean top level access.
Precisely. The hatch, the doorway from the roof that should lead to the observatory if unwarded in some way, in normal days would lead down into the observatory and then down into the headmaster's wing and that of the teleportation sigil. However, under these odd circumstances we find ourselves, it could lead to a room we have yet to ever see. It could lead to a pit of fire. Truthfully, we're not sure.
Well, thank you, Eli. That's noted. And of course, only a fool would suggest drilling into some sort of magical tower, or trying to explode it for that matter.
I have an idea.
Oh no.
Eli, I know you were hesitant to even aid in this for the foolhardiness and for whatever lies beyond this, but I think it's something that we will want to try to do urgently, even tonight. Aurora, Arthur, is this something you'd be able to help us with? Eli, of course, this invitation goes to you, but I respect your choice.
He nods. Arthur immediately says, I've been waiting for the right moment to do this, and I'm more than ready right now to go in, but if this evening is deemed better for yourselves, a greater number of us makes me feel much better about our chances. But even knowing what we're up against in some capacity, even thus far, I feel better about it. But with you there, I certainly feel better about it. Aurora says, I think it's highly necessary, and I concur with my friends here that with you, I think we stand a much greater chance. Without, I fear that Eli is not incorrect, that this is potentially a foolhardy venture that is more about pride than it is about reacquiring what is necessary. And Eli says, my purposes, my reasons for wanting to abstain are simply out of fear that this school will fall asunder and its history and its great worth will be squandered should the three of us fall attempting to acquire or battle whatever it is Raymond has set out. Now, you all say you have faced him. You know he is not to be trifled with. We're in his home now. He will have guarded it. His greatest secrets are as guarded as he keeps them within. My expertise is in protection. My expertise is in understanding the wards and magic that guard us. And he will have found the most impressive ways to shut our attempts down. I say this as warning and as preparation, but I say it as one going alongside you. This is nodding to Arthur. This is a necessary step that we must take. And looking about you, I certainly feel better having some others with us than just the three of us. I don't know what we will face beyond, but it will be certainly helpful to have you with us.
Insight check on, it was more the beginning part, but I didn't want to cut you off. When he was saying the whole thing about seeing the school crumble and
Sure.
dangers of why he doesn't want to go in, and mostly, I'm thinking it's a metaphor for his life. But let's see. Let's see.
That's
what
your
it
insight
does.
check. Is it a metaphor for his life?
It's a 13 plus 11, so 24.
He is certainly not lying. He believes that if the school falls, like its history and its the weight behind the name and everything they've worked for may be for naught. If it crumbles and falls before they've even finished or acquired this position. You
So it is a
certainly
metaphor for his life.
you certainly see the correlation between the family name he's trying to live up to and the failure that these two things could be obviously in tandem, but he also agrees that there is good purpose to it beyond his personal desires.
Eli, sorry, Mary, you were about to say something.
No, I'm not. I'm good.
Eli, I really appreciate your change of heart, and I know this will be dangerous, but with you by our side, I think we have a much greater chance. And I would just volunteer this one potential. Yes, I'm sure there's all sorts of dubious and devious things behind that secret door, and I'm sure I will have a complete change of heart in saying this momentarily once we pass through. What if in one part of his soul that is still good, these wards, these protections that he set up, he did leave vulnerabilities. He does want us to make our way through. I mean, he does want to leave the option that he is wrong and we could triumph over him. I don't know. I'll go back and forth on if Raymond is redeemable. If, though he is corrupted, there is a part of him that is still good and could still be leading some breadcrumbs for us to find a way through this. So, just something to think about.
I appreciate it, and in truth, similar thoughts I've mulled over for quite some time. I don't know if I wish him to be the villain he is portrayed, or if I wish to have the headmaster who challenged me back. I truly hope that, I suppose, neither eventualities come to bear, and that we can simply move on with the memories that we had, and hopefully no further damage done.
I think for us, we just wanted to cross a few more things off our list. Mainly, I think, potentially get some health potions before we do something like this. But in a few short hours, perhaps after dinner, would you guys be okay with starting this with us?
Of course. We're at the ready. And Eli's like, I wish I had some time to change out some of my spells, but I suppose I could go with what I have prepared. This is supposed to be a day of learning and teaching, not a day of fighting. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, it's
Okay,
fine.
great.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Do we, I mean, I guess we've been staying up later. We slept in a bit. Just trying to make sure. We don't know how long we're going to spend in this thing. So I worry about starting it in the evening. This is just out of game talk.
Abyss Part 2, baby. We're in a long rest in here. It's going to be great.
Can I go to the
Yeah.
cafeteria?
Yeah. Should we switch to whatever the fuck is happening over here?
Yeah, just want to make sure that conversation was done.
I'll have one more thing for
We'll
Eli,
jump.
but-
We'll jump back.
Yeah.
Lav, as you make your way down, the young lad with the crab is showing his crab to Auric and like trying to walk in tandem with you, seeing how the two of them interact. And the crab is like gently putting his little claw out to like almost like scritch the top of Auric's head, just out of like curiosity. And he's just kind of like fascinated by the two.
I'm like mentally cued into Auric being like, yo, don't eat that thing. Do not eat that thing.
You feel Auric's like claws just kind of dig into your shoulder ever so slightly. The young boy is kind of hanging back. The girl and the half orc have kind of begun leading ahead. And he says, "I'm Penley, by the way.
What was that?
Penley, my name."
Oh, I like that name.
What's yours?
Look what I'll do. Don't worry, it'll go away. It's not totally vandalism. And I do prestidigitation and I write his name all over the wall.
It's like, I hope that goes away. Oh, it's cool.
So where's this cafeteria thing?
It's right down here. You probably would have passed it to come up. on the way. And he immediately, like, the door opens below, back to that lounge, the second level. And you can see all the students, about half the students are still remaining. And they're just kind of scattered. You see some are kind of slumped on the big pillow pile. Some have carried some books over to some of the study areas. And the half orc and the girl begin leading towards one of those kind of alcoves carved into the wall, and they go ahead and they're asking for further orders, asking for some food and drink. And Penley kind of looks to you and says, "You just say what you want, and in a minute or so, it comes to you."
What do I want? What do I want? What do I want?
I don't know.
We haven't even had anything good around here lately at all. I did get to go to the spa experience though, and it like blew my mind. So I think you order and I'll just get whatever you get.
Sure. I mean, I'm not particularly hungry myself. I was just going to get a milkshake.
Oh my God. I would love that.
It's really interesting. We heard about it from a friend of ours in Haverfeld. They said it's like going around from this pub in Haverfeld. All these people are starting to drink it. It's catching on. We don't know where it came from, but it's fucking delicious.
Oh my God. Get 2. How many flavors are there?
Flavors? I just said milkshake. I never even considered other flavors.
Oh my God, this is the best place ever. I never went to school. This is so cool. And like, look at all of these students here. You can all be friends and all this stuff. I was friends with the like prisoners. It was so crazy. Where are you from?
The three of them are like in stunned silence for a moment as like this tray kind of jumps in beside, and it's just 2 glass milkshakes with big straws and a cherry hanging on top with some whipped cream.
I don't even look. I just grab one and go like this.
Yeah. Penley.
Oh, bravery!
Penley grabs his quietly as the other 2 tuck into like a shared plate of like French fries and like just like simple college type food. But they all kind of begin talking about where they came from. The half-orc talks about coming from this place called Zurog Bell, an orcish community northwest of Arendelle. The girl, her name is Callista. She comes from Arendelle. She was born here and always wanted to go to this school and has saved up and worked and all this stuff. Penley comes from a village called Asilra, which is on the east coast, just north of Verdantia, but still within Exander. And the 3 of them are just immediately like, "You said you live with prisoners." What?
Yeah. It's
Are
so
you
weird.
a criminal? And they like kind of half taken aback, but also kind of interested and like,
Oh my God, you guys are so cute. No, I'm not the criminal. No, I'm not the criminal. But have you ever heard of this place called Estevatol?
no?
That's where I'm from. It's really down in the south. It's a really cool hip place, but not a lot of people know about it.
Callista like begins kind of taking a quick note as you're talking, and she just has like a scrap of parchment and writing it down.
Vatol. 2 L's.
Oh.
So there's so many people from here. Like, I don't know. I've just never really like seen this many people. Do you guys have a crush on anybody? Like, what's your type?
They're all just like, Penley immediately starts blushing, and the half-orc, whose name is Ed, by the way, Ed just kind of taps Callista's hand, and the unspoken, the 2 of them just like kind of share like a faint like look and hand touch.
Oh my God, cute.
Penley just kind of blushes and then just starts drinking his milkshake. Callista just leans in though and says, forget about them. There's other students. Who cares? You're fascinating. You're amazing. Who are you? Where have you been? Learned where you come from? What can you do though?
Oh my God, thank you. First of all, let me tell you my type. I love like blonde guys, like tiny blonde guys. I don't know why. I just love that. Before I answer all your questions, is there anybody here that you've met that like maybe fit that description? Like maybe like elfy, but not like a full elf. like a tiny, like a
Ed
half elf.
Ed is kind of sitting back and says, "That's a very specific."
I know. I've been
influence."
around the block. I know exactly what I like. You know.
I respect it, but just letting you know that that's very specific. I feel like you're gonna have some trouble finding that very specific person. But
Yeah, you've never seen anybody like that.
half elf blonde. I don't think here.
Oh, maybe not half elf. You just wrote me a note being like halfling, not half elf.
Halfling different than half elf.
Not a short blonde half elf who you happen to have in your party already.
She would never.
Yeah.
ever.
Maybe I should like broaden my like horizons, you know? Like I haven't been to many places, so maybe like a halfling. A fling with a halfling.
So it's really just the blonde thing for you then.
And a half thing.
Oh. They all just kind of like nod, like they know what you're talking about, but they don't know.
No. They don't.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm from Estivatol. I met these guys called the Wildcards. They are truly just that. Like everybody is so different. But there's an angel in the group. Her name is Brawley. There's this really cool chick. Her name is Mary. There's really like, there's another guy named Valentine. There's like this guy that I'm just like hot and cold with all the time. But it's like, is he my brother or is he just my annoying uncle? I don't know who that is. There's Hondo. And then there's my cat. I mean, my favorite guy. And his name, well, I probably shouldn't even introduce you to Gord because you're never going to get to know him. I just met him like a month ago. I've been traveling with him for like years or what it feels like. I'm from Estivatol. My name is Lavender. Oh my God. I got that annoying guy in my brain. My name is Lavender. And I also just got this guy and her name is Oric.
Well, Oric, a pleasure to meet you. He kind of puts his hand out to shake the little paw and says, Lavender, this was eye-opening to meet you. This is fascinating.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So, I mean, that all sounds fascinating. All these people in our group, they're so cool. But we've been to all these crazy places. We fought this like invisible dragon. I'm not even kidding. This thing called Null. We fought this. We had these exploding vials. We've met so many dead things. There was like bleeding rain this one time. And that time, Raymond Boralis was following us. And I fell
Before
off
you
of
even
the
get to the Raymond part, just full jaws drop, blank stares, like everything you're saying. Like they just are, one, fully believing it. Two,
Great.
just open awe.
I know. This shit's crazy, guys. Like, there's some crazy ass shit out there. And I grew up with criminals, but there's a lot of stuff going out there. And I just want to know, you know, that Raymond guy, the only experience I have ever had with him has been him chasing me falling off of this carpet, basically like almost cracking my skull open and dying. And that wasn't a good experience. And you guys had him as a teacher?
Penley kind of sits forward and says, well, Callista and I are kind of new. We've really only trained with those, the guys up there. Ed? Ed's like, I've been at the college for about a year and a half now. I've trained under him.
That's crazy, man.
And honestly, it didn't seem crazy a year and a half ago. He was just an old, very powerful and very wise teacher. He was cruel to those who weren't excelling. He would often take to point out those who were last in class. And he would very often cherish and prize those who were top of the class. He certainly lived with a taught and ran the school with a hierarchy in mind.
Did it ever feel like he was like collecting those people?
Certainly. There was a battle for the apprenticeship position. He kind of gestures up to the stairs up again and says, the apprentices, Raymond's apprentices, were his top in the class. Everyone wanted to be that person.
So I'm guessing there were some people that were devastated when he's not here anymore.
The three of them kind of look around and say, yeah, there were many reactions. People's parents wanted them to come home immediately. Some people went a little kind of feeling like they wasted their lives, their time. Some just didn't believe it. But, you know, those of us who are here know that his legacy, whatever it was, is tarnished. Shit.
No, definitely. That guy is total shit. Man, I like you guys. Thanks so much for all this information. Anything else? Like, is there anybody else around here that just seems like they are like taken over by Raymond Borales? Any of the teachers that are like, oh, we still love Raymond Borales?
Immediately, Penley starts like snorting into his milkshake. Ed kind of gives him a look, and then turns back to you and says, there's only ever really 2 students here who were like, oh, for Raymond, you know. Actually, it's kind of funny enough, it was a halfling. His name is Corin.
No way. Corin?
Yeah, Stoutheart, and the other 2 just kind of nod.
Corin Stoutheart.
Corin Stoutheart. He was smart, but he was cruel. He would come at you like a rabid fucking dog. It was
Sounds
wild.
like a dick.
It was, and you know, we would get into some dueling matches, and he was powerful and skilled combatant.
Is he still here?
We haven't seen him since shortly after Raymond. There was a girl who was always around with him too. Her name was Rena something. She was really, really quiet, but we joked about it at the time, and then it got weird. She was into Raymond.
Been there, done that, buddy.
Maybe not with Raymond, though, you know.
No.
We haven't seen her since the same amount of time.
Are they from here?
Honestly,
or do you know where those guys are from?
We kind of kept our distance. Rena was just quiet and kept to herself in general, but Corin was a fucking dick. You know, we didn't really get on. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. We didn't really know.
No, don't worry. This has already been such good information. You guys, thank you so much. I have only met a handful of people before that I liked. One of them being the Wildcards, and now 2 of them being you guys. And I know that school can sometimes be expensive. So here you go. And I just gotta give them each 10 gold. And I just say, I know it's not a lot, but you guys like stay true to yourselves. And I hope that I run into you again. I should probably go meet back up with my party.
The 3 are like immediately like stumbling over the words, appreciative, and very, very happily take the gold from you and are showering praise on you. And as you kind of begin to make your way off, Penley says, like holding up his milkshake, he's like, tell people about these.
Oh my God, dude, this is so good. But my tummy is kind of rumbling now. Okay, gotta go.
You make your way up into the 3rd layer once more, and regroup with the group at large.
I just slowly walk back up to them, like slurping this milkshake, but like kind of behind Valentine, and it's like one of those. It's done, and it's like just right here in his ear.
Is it done? Is it done?
What? The milkshake?
No, you're talking to those
I'm almost done.
teenagers.
Yeah, no, they were so cool. Oh, you know that half guy that you guys have been talking about?
Person? The halfling that we've been trying to find? Yeah.
The halfling. I learned a bit about him. I learned his name.
What's his name?
His last name is Corin.
Nope.
His last name is Stoutheart.
And his first
and
name?
His first name
Corin.
is Torin.
Corin?
Torin?
Corin.
Corin. That's what I said.
Yeah, Honda, the blonde halfling, I think you got a lead on from those.
That guy you were talking about. Oh my God. So yeah, he's still here. He had a crazy relationship with Raymond. He loved him so much. He's really smart. He also had this like little girl side thing that was like his friend, but also may have been kind of obsessed with Raymond. And they had this like this whole thing. And also milkshakes are so good.
What's a milkshake?
This thing.
Clive has a sugar high now.
Is that thing Gord wanted in episode 1 or 2?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was 1, wasn't it?
It was 1.
Oh my God. That's called a callback.
I love it.
105 episodes.
She goes in there for 1.
You need to stake out the brothel. He'll probably return there.
God.
We can jump in.
How do you
Well,
have...
when was he last
Arthur kind
there?
of puts his hand up and just says, sorry, we're a little behind the 8 ball in this one. Corin, it's a device.
It's a magical device.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 ball.
Anyways, Corin Stoutheart, what does he have to do with anything?
Apparently, he's a piece of shit, but don't ask me, ask Lav.
Okay.
You had the first clue to his shittiness, Tana. Do you want to reveal what you found?
Apparently, our friend is a frequent visitor to the late night club.
And also...
Bad tipper?
What else? I don't remember.
Yeah, I believe your original telling to us was that he seemed pretty shifty. He seemed like he might still have allegiances to Raymond.
Oh,
That's,
yes,
I think, what
yes,
you first told us.
Yes.
I see. So, what is your intent with him?
Nothing. I think we just wanted to know if he was here. We had no idea what his identity was. We just wanted to make sure he wasn't covertly still a student here.
We want
Perhaps
to
a spy for Raymond, you mean?
Yeah.
question him.
Question him, okay.
Those guys said that they haven't seen him in a while. And the girl that he was with, her name was Rena, but she's really quiet. So
That's
Aurora jumps up at the name Rena and says, I trained Rena some. She was very quiet, but she also hasn't been here since Raymond.
She tried to go through, right?
She did, as far as we know.
That was great investigative work you did there, Lav. Well done.
thank you. And Oric goes, oh.
Also you, Oric. Great job.
Yeah, that one guy had this little tiny crab, and I kept being like, Oric, don't eat that crab.
Don't.
It's so cool how we all have these animals. Anyways, I think that's all I got from them.
That's great. Thank you. You did great work. Hondo, you're familiar with crabs, I presume?
They're delicious.
That's not what I was getting at.
I don't know.
So, you wish to meet back here after dinner then?
Yeah, we got to shoot the shit a bit more and get some potions and stuff.
What time is it roughly? Sorry, Kyle.
You guys have been here maybe an hour?
Okay, so it's like
It's afternoon.
still lunch, like 50
Yeah.
work for lunch. Gotcha.
You have to meet the Grey Lady.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
Night.
if,
Hmm.
admittedly, how much our meeting is tomorrow afternoon. Would we benefit from doing this tomorrow morning, or is there
class? Yeah.
so that I'll gesture to our friend here can make sure he's prepared adequately, and I don't know how much we have of the same to do. Alternatively, if we want to get it done tonight, it's possible. If think we have to look at our own timelines as well. I know we have much to accomplish.
We could do this tomorrow morning. We do have an engagement that we agreed to this evening. We could do some other stuff in the interim, and then get this done tomorrow morning. Does that sound good to you three? Or Eli, Arthur?
What engagement do you have tomorrow afternoon? The council meeting?
We were going to swing by the council meeting, and then as well, tonight we have a meeting with the Grey Lady.
My concern, it's entirely your call. It's entirely up to you. It makes no difference to any of us. We're fine either way. We just can't guarantee how long this will take.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, if it's
Truthfully,
something that does take all night, and we also know time can get wonky in places like this.
Precisely.
Shit. Okay. Well, maybe.
Why don't we do it tonight? Let's do it tonight. Let's have fun.
But that also being said, could take no time at all. We are a relatively skilled group.
We could just walk right in.
Probably not that, but.
Do we want to, Hondo, did you get some sort of time right after sunset when the moon's at its peak to meet the Grey Lady tonight?
I figured it's more like an after dinner, like we go for dessert and coffee type thing.
So do you want to keep these skilled magic users waiting till an after dessert? We have our meeting, then we go do this act?
Yeah, we can do the meeting first and then go.
Okay. Is that okay with you guys? I don't want to inconvenience your time here, but we already agreed to something.
No, that's fine.
Great.
You give us a chance to prepare as best we can.
Perfect. Then I think that settles that.
It's going to be a long night.
We're used to that.
Well, like I say, we'll adjourn to prepare. We'll ensure that there are no students remaining on the grounds, which could take some time, so perhaps it's better we give it a little bit of time. Allow them to find either extra lodging or covered in some other way. Okay. After dinner.
Great. As we're leaving, I'll just just poke Eli, try and get his attention for a sec. Just a quick word. I unfairly prodded you yesterday just to see how you would react to your last name being brought up, and can tell it's a sore spot. And I just wanted to say, from experience, from someone who has one of those last names, and from someone who discovered even more history, let's say, in their bloodline, you're not what your name entitles you to or what your ancestors have done. So easier said than done, but just free yourself from those expectations and delight in the unexpected.
I appreciate the kind words, and I apologize for my response, though it is just a admitted sore spot. I've never hidden it. I've never hidden my antagony towards those who use it. Unfortunately, this name is synonymous with arcane skill and power, and those who hear it expect likewise. They expect greatness. And there is much riding on me and my family, and myself. I wish to be as great as he. I just fear that I may not live up to his expectations or those expectations placed before me. I think that is a common fear, but it is my path to take. I appreciate the kind words nonetheless.
I hope you never meet those expectations of him. I just hope you surpass the expectations of yourself.
Quietly just nods.
All right, well, I gotta make sure these guys don't end up in jail or a whorehouse, so I gotta go.
He just kind of kind of drifts off. Okay, what are you guys doing for the remainder of the day as you exit the tower? It's shortly afternoon.
I want to take the carpet.
Hmm?
And I just want to fly up to the top of the tower and take a look.
Sure. Great idea. Yeah. I'll take that out of the bag.
It takes a couple of minutes for you guys to get set up, but again, there are some guards. You notice there's like a faint patrol, and as they see you guys there is a stop back, maybe 100, 120 feet or so at the edge of the castle, just like keeping their walk around the castle. But they stop as they see you pull out a carpet, and they just kind of watch. Just two of them kind of leaning against the wall. One of them begins kind of rolling a cigarette.
Kyle, were we in hell when we tried to do something similar where we landed on a tower and had to try and jump into a portal? Do you remember that?
That was in when we were in between levels. There was the place where we had to try to
that
get
was
to the
in
abyss.
the Outland, heading in like the abyssal Outland.
That's right.
That's right. That's what it was.
That was fucking cool. That was a pre-stream, really cool fucking.
I forgot about that completely.
And that guy who owned that whole realm, he was fun but real scary.
Yeah. But
that's right. He gave the world's easiest riddle.
Yeah.
And then Hondo and I solved it before he finished speaking, and he got really mad at us.
Yeah.
Kyle set up that we had to answer 3 very challenging riddles, and Leah just rattled them off 1, 2, 3, and then he was like, "All right, fuck it, we're gonna fight. I don't care."
It was an intentional this guy isn't nearly as smart as he wants to be.
That was really fun,
and you just shit all over him. It was really funny.
Sorry to sidetrack, Hondo. You're floating up. Yeah.
Hondo, you begin. Hondo, you going solo?
Yeah, I'll go solo.
Okay, I'm just curious. You make your way up 30, 40-ish feet. You are on level with. You can see across now at the top of the tower. You can see there is this kind of faint dome to it, and then walls on the sides that kind of circle around. And in each, there's a cutaway battlement. As typical of kind of towers and castles. At the center, you can see there looks to be a hatch with it's got a big circular iron pull. That's it.
I want to go and I just want to touch it, just put my hand and see.
On the hatch or just on the top of the tower? Okay. As you make your way, you fly up and over the wall, and as you get within 5 feet of the hatch, you watch as in the battlement wall, you see 6 just panels of stone shift, and from each, the mouth of a cannon shifts out, and with a heavy and a heavy roll a d6 for me.
Oh boy. 2.
As you, with your hand outstretched, you just see one of these cannons just blast a huge jet of fire in your direction. It just, all of you from below just see 100-foot line of fire. Hondo, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
Come on, buddy.
So it's a 9, and my dex save is 10. 19.
You rear back up on the carpet and expertly kind of swirl around the fire jet, taking no damage, as you are a evasion with your rogue. But you watch another begin to ignite with crackling energy.
Why is it always when Hondo's by himself? Why?
Hondo, what you doing up there, pal?
There's a hatch up here, and I went 5 feet from it, and suddenly these cannons appear, and they shoot fire.
Make a Constitution saving throw, Hondo.
You're still near it?
Ugh.
Yeah.
My con save is 3, so 6.
You watch as another one begins to kind of hum and whir, and you just see and this massive expulsion of kind of dark purplish green gas surrounds the top of the tower, and just like a massive cloud spilling out and over the edges of the tower. You guys watch this huge mushroom cloud of gas erupt. Hondo, you suffer 22 points of poison damage. And you are considered poisoned.
Oh, great.
Jesus, he's Hondo and getting poisoned.
It's his favorite.
As it gets into your lungs, and you're just hacking and coughing, and your eyes are watering, and you can't see as you just still are up in this space around the top of this tower. You hear another one just...
Hondo, get the fuck down!
Come down, pal.
I will come down now. Or I'll get out of range.
You rise up out of just straight up out of the cloud, kicking up the cloud in your wake. Eyes still streaming, lungs still burning. You make your way back down to the group, still kind of coughing up.
Oof, you don't look good, pal.
What did we learn?
So there is a hatch. I feel if we can get to it. The problem is you get near it, and he has a variety of cannons on the perimeter. What we need to do is we need to create a wall around this hatch so that he can shoot as many cannons as we want. If we're protected, we can get in.
I can't do that.
Or we need to disable the cannon. So this is a team effort. We get everybody up there. Each person takes a cannon while one person takes the hatch.
Okay. I mean, yeah, like no bad ideas. We can ask them what they think about that. I don't know what their skills are, if they'd be able to do something like that. You look like shit, by the way, right now. You look a little singed and...
I mean, it's like, being in one of those, polluted islands, but I'm okay.
I don't know.
Things are a bit sore, but I'll survive. Anyone have can you cure me from this poison, anyone?
No, you think you got poison? You feeling woozy?
I'm definitely a bit off, If anyone has any solutions.
More off than normal?
He does look like a little greener than blue.
I'm a bit off.
That's a good point.
We don't.
You can make another con save at this point.
I'll do it.
12 plus.
And my con save is 3.
You are still poisoned. You still feel kind of shitty.
I mean, we could try and swing by the Temple of Pelor if you want. See if we can get a little aid there.
That would be good. We could also talk about these cannons to them.
Yeah. We also, I think, Mary, is there a place that I recall we bought potions at way back when here?
Mm-hmm. There's an apothecary in the lower.
We should stock up on potions for sure.
That's what I'm thinking, pal. So why don't we make a pit stop maybe at the temple, see if we can get you healed up, maybe get some potions, and then Gray Lady, are we supposed to bring another bottle of wine? How do you think I should dress? Is it formal, semi-formal?
I'd say casual. I think we could bring her a potion as a gift. She might like that.
Okay, cool.
What else should we accomplish? I mean, we have a full afternoon. Elena, I don't know if it's worth maybe spend some time. It takes an hour and a half to walk here. I don't know if it'd be enough. If you want to speak to Baldora, that should probably be somewhere slightly more private, looking around that we're in a busy street.
I think you guys are still by the tower. It's not that busy.
Okay.
It's there are a couple of students slowly kind of filtering out every now and then, but as you guys begin walking, yes, it will be more busy.
Just trying to figure out what we can get accomplished. I know we have some time, and we want to take time to ourselves after some nonstop stuff, but I'm not very good at standing still.
I'm very good at that. Well, obviously, you guys, have you done all your winter stay shopping? You got to do that.
Yes.
So we could do a bit of that. I'm thinking about potentially just trying to think of some legend lore stuff I could ask Aetherius about, but
Yeah, so it's we'll say 2:00. You guys wanted to go to the Grey Ladies for after dinner and then back here. So you guys have at least 4 hours if you want to kill shopping and picking stuff up. There is an apothecary in Lower Arendelle that you can stock up on what they have, or you can go over that. If you guys have some individual shopping for your Deep Winter Day present, you can do that. And if you have questions for legend lore and scrying and any of that, let's take a quick break, use bathroom, get some more drinks, and then we can come back. Try and rapid fire through some of that so we can get back to we'll get back to the Grey Lady, go through that conversation, and then see about starting into the tower. As we jump back in, we don't need to necessarily role play through all of this. As you guys leave the tower, Hondo, your poison wears relatively quickly, actually. As you guys are walking for a short minute or two, you immediately begin to feel better, as it seems it is not an hourly thing or even forever. It is a short while that you are poisoned, and immediately you begin to feel better walking and getting some fresh air. But as you, with thoughts of shopping in mind, make your way to the Grand Bazaar and to the market of Lower Arendelle, and though some of you do kind of split off in Upper Arendelle for some select things, as Mary recommends a place for Alana to go check out in Upper Arendelle as she makes her way off that way. Mary knows what she's going for in Lower Arendelle. Hondo, you know where you need to go for your acquisitions. Leaving the four of you still, with Mary's lead, to go to the Devil's Apothecary in Lower Arendelle. You have been there once before, collectively, though Mary would have the most history here. Tobin runs this here apothecary, a gnomish figure, and there are several healing potions and a couple of other potions of interest to some of you, perhaps. As you enter and inquire, he has 5 healing potions. He has 2 greater healing potions, 1 superior healing potion, and then has a couple of other interesting tidbits for those of you who are interested. A potion of fire resistance, a potion of lightning resistance, potion of water breathing, a potion of spell recovery, and a potion of maximum power.
What the fuck are these?
All of those sound great.
I'll take them all.
If you want, he will happily hand all of these across to you. The maximum power, let me pull up the very specifics of
What
it.
is that?
That's got to be so
Imagine
expensive.
giving that to Brad.
What could it do though? Who knows?
When a spellcaster drinks it and then casts a damage dealing spell of 4th level or lower within 1 minute of drinking the potion, instead of rolling, you deal max damage on the spell. You auto deal full damage to the highest number possible on a spell 4th or lower. So no huge spells, but still like a big full cast fireball, something like that.
I was just saying AoE would be best, because then it's not like, oh shit, I missed. I guess that doesn't work. But it's the first spell you cast after that, right? Like, it's not.
It's like the next time you do something after you drink this potion.
Vicious mockery.
4 points of damage.
Single firebolt, single magic missile.
The potion of spell recovery recovers expended spell slots up to a combined level that is equal to a 1d3 plus 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have a chance of getting a minimum of 4, but a maximum of 6 levels of spell slots back on this potion. Both of those are certainly the most powerful and expensive potions in this here cavalcade of potions. If you're Hondo, are you legitimately asking for the lot?
how much would the lot cost? You know, we're returning customers. You know, we're good people. You know, your town is here because of us.
Cash and checks you don't have.
Your town is here because
He
I mean
looks
it's not,
you up and
not
down.
untrue.
But shakes his head and says, "I've never seen you before in my life. My prices are my prices. You're willing to pay? This is what it costs." And let me do a bunch of math. Hang on.
So which ones, like, if we had to whittle it down? Admittedly, the water breathing might come in handy if we have to go fight a giant cracker. We don't know what that is yet. The fire resistance could also come in handy fighting hell people.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, potions, like the just healing ones we always end up needing.
For the lot, you're looking at 10,400 gold.
Ooh.
We'll give you 7,000.
Do you even have 7,000?
Let's not do this part yet. Let's not do
Party
this.
funds.
Not do this part yet.
Party funds. Pay up, Valentine.
To
Pay him up.
give you an idea, all of
Bro,
that
we don't have 10K.
would be 10,500 gold.
Could we get some number breakdowns? What's spell recovery? Could we get spell recovery in max?
Spell recovery is 2,500. Max is 3,500.
We'll give you 3,000 for both.
Nope.
No.
How about those healing potions?
The healing potions, he's got 5 regulars, so 500 gold, so 100 gold apiece, 500 total.
Yep.
2 graders are 500 apiece, so 1,000 total.
Oof.
And a superior is a singular for 1,000.
Honestly, I think that, like, the regulars,
Yeah.
those potions are just good for the non-healers to have to get someone up and
Yeah.
stop them from dying. Like, we don't need the best ones. It sucks because they're expensive, but
Okay, 500 gold. Let's say that.
we don't need all of them.
Okay. While this is happening, I'm just gonna wander around the store, just browse.
Oh, bro.
And something may fall into my
No.
My
can
passive perception is insanely high now, and if I see you, I will do something about it.
I am not a slouch either.
So
I know.
here's the thing, Hondo. Before you even try, looking
Yeah.
around, the stuff that's out in like the shop aisles are like herbs, dried herbs, and like elements that you would use to create potions with, flowers, and there are some jars of some odd little bits and bobs and weird looking things. There are some simple looking tonics that look like little salves, like herbal salves you would rub on a burn that maybe help, maybe it's bullshit, like stuff like that. That's out and accessible in the aisles that you could potentially try and pocket 100%. This stuff and the stuff that you want, he's got it under lock and key behind the desk as he's standing over top of it. That's not something you can easily swipe. You want to try and swipe something in the aisles, go nuts, but you're probably not going to get any of this shit. You're going to get
Taking
some
the
like
tonics.
take the what?
He slighted me, so I'm
Okay.
taking the tonics.
Okay, make a sleight of hand.
He slighted you? Jesus.
Kevin gets something that's, I
Oh
mean,
my
admittedly, Hondo might be able to use them. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
yeah.
you, Dice Gods. Thank
So-
you, Dice Gods.
A one roll, and my sleight of hand.
So
One's is an auto fail there.
yeah, that's not super great, but we'll come back to that in a minute. As what all do you want to try and actually acquire here?
I think for sure. Sorry, sir. One more question. How about your water breathing potion? What would you individually price that at?
That would be 500.
Okay. Guys, I don't know about you, but I think we could take the lot, all 5 of those regulars. That's 500 GP. And then I think water breathing could come in handy. At some point, we might be visiting Hondo's relatives. So that could be 1,000 right there. And then I honestly think I don't know. I think maybe spell recovery over max. What do you guys think?
Spell recovery is 1,000 gold cheaper.
Yeah, the max thing just is like, I feel like that
You don't.
you could not get your bang for your buck because it's the next thing. And if it doesn't happen to time out just like that, where your next, you have to take a bonus action to drink that potion battle.
So-
This is just metagamey.
Here, yeah, I was gonna go there too. Like, I have adopted the homebrew rule that Critical Role uses: bonus action to drink a potion yourself. So in theory, Lavender, Valentine, Gourd, bonus action knock back the max power, and then cast some big shit. 4th level at most, but like let's just use fireball for now. Say you upcast a fireball at 4th level, you're doing 96 the whole way, which I don't remember exactly what that is. What's 9 times 6? Kevin. 54. Never mind, I did it. You do 54 damage immediately, like guaranteed. But it costs 3,500 to guarantee a real big damage spell.
I mean, also, I have a feeling it's not going away anytime soon, and we could come back here if we decide to get more money or whatever, right?
Sure.
That might be a good thing to have for the next time we go face,
Raimundo.
something, but we might not need it today or tomorrow.
I think if I was statting it out, 5 of the regular heals, so that's 500 gold. The water breathing one, always handy. It saved my life once. That's another 500 gold, so 1,000 total. And then the spell recovery, I think that's just always clutch. That would put us at that's 2,500 individual, so that would be 3,500 gold.
You're okay? You're well okay for that? Because that was another thing, like, I know we talked about, I still owe some money, and I was going to have to borrow from Party Fund.
Yeah, if you guys want to break down on how much money is still owed, I have that as well.
We, in Party Funds, have... try and whisper this so Hana doesn't hear. 11,000 gems from the dragon incident.
Oh, well then you're good.
11,000 gold.
Yeah, but we obviously are aware.
This guy certainly accepts gems in payment. So
We also have 1 diamond worth 500 gold, 8 diamonds worth 650 gold, and 1 small diamond worth 100 gold.
Yeah, but we gotta keep that shit.
You gotta negotiate first. Don't just pick his prices.
Yeah, I'll just give him 3,500 gold.
Okay. So you acquire 5 regular healing potions, 1 potion of spell recovery, and 1 potion of water breathing. You can divvy up however you want, but all of those are in D&D Beyond. Just healing potion. Spell recovery is a homebrew dealio that I stole from somebody. Don't know.
Oh, cool.
Might have been a Griffin Saddlebag thing.
Okay, lose. Okay, I'll do the math here. Got it.
Water
So
breathing is classic.
could I have just given him that in gems? Is he okay with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
He accepts gems without question. But he does say the price goes up an extra 5 for the tonic Hondo swipes.
Oh, sure. I'll give him an extra 10.
With a wink and a smile, pockets the extra change. Hondo, you get away with a tonic to soothe burns. That's it. And you guys have acquired a number of interesting potions.
So Scott, do you have those, and we'll divvy them up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys can call that out shortly. Allie, you acquire the item in question without any issues, though it will require another day to get the extra bit. So you can either leave it there and pick it up tomorrow, or you can take it now and deal with it at another time. It's up to you.
I'll leave it and then I'll go pick it up.
You got it. Hondo, for you, you're going to have to roll down to the fellas for your request.
Okay, so I'll go to the store.
You break off from the group for a moment. You make your way to the Grand Bazaar. You make your way through the somewhat secretive passage, though with your skill level very easily done for you to sneak your way down into this seedy underbelly where you feel much more at home. And you find Rabbit and Jinx are both still where you left them. And they kind of look at you interestingly as you make your way forward.
Hey, good day, fellows. How
Returning customer.
You couldn't keep me away. I am looking for one of these 2 objects that I will tell you.
Yeah. He makes note that one of them, the first of the 2 that you've messaged me, he kind of says, whoa, hey, that's kind of a bit tall order, friend. Like, I'm pretty confident in my ability, but that's a lot. The second thing you're talking about, now that's something I can work with. So if you're still interested, I can acquire a couple of those and a device for using it.
How much were we talking here for these objects?
Depends. I mean, if you want to tack it on to some of the other things you're ordering, I can get it to you in the 9 more days you want. But if you're looking for some expediency, I can tack on a couple extra gold.
I just need it for Winter's Fest.
Well, that's only 3 days, my friend. That's gonna cost you just a little bit more. Just a little bit. I'm a businessman, you're a businessman. You understand my dilemma here.
Yeah, but, I've given you a lot of business. Hopefully we can work something out here.
Of course. Far be it from me to spit in a friend's face. Of course I can work with you here. But I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna cost just a little bit more for the expediency. So let's see. He writes something down on a little slip of parchment and kind of slides it across the table in front of him. And I will message you.
Okay, if I want to counter offer, do I type it or do I tell you?
It's up to you if you want to be forthcoming with how much you're willing to spend here.
Okay, maybe I will.
You can message me.
Okay.
A secret for Secret Bard.
Super secret. You give me your counter offer and then roll a persuasion check for me.
Okay, so I've sent the counter offer and now I will roll the check.
Absolutely. Give me a persuasion check.
What the fuck is he buying? Oh,
16.
That's good.
I think my persuasion is already, it's like a 13, so that's 29.
Jesus.
He counters with a modest counter.
Okay. Because I prefer whole numbers, will you take this?
Jesus.
You drive a hard bargain, my friend, but I know you're spending good money here. I know if I get this to you in time that I think you'll be back for more. So I think we can do this deal.
You got a deal.
Half up front now and half on delivery, of course.
Of course, and I will present it.
You got it. Hondo, your Deep Winter's Day gift is on its way.
Sweet.
And Leah, no, it's okay. I'll come down a bit. Okay, that I believe is everybody that I had talked online with and all previously squared away potions. Is there anything else you guys want to accomplish before making your way to the Grey Lady's Manor Estate?
Is there anyone we need to scry on before this starts, or were you going to save that for...
I was just going to save it just in case.
It's a good call.
Yeah, just in case.
It's something you can do just before bed, if you're alive. So we'll say it takes a couple of hours for you guys to go through the process of walking alone is an hour. So making your way to Lower Arendelle, putting in some orders and some in Upper Arendelle, stocking up on supplies, and just doing so at a leisurely pace. You guys are just kind of allowing yourselves to not work at breakneck speed for the first time in a long time. Even though you're still working a full day's activity, you're still moving, you're still doing stuff. This is a far more relaxed, leisurely pace. And it's just like a weight. It's very slowly being lifted, though you know that the time of this kind of leisurely idle period is going to dwindle away. But nonetheless, you put that from your minds. Make your way once more to Upper Arendelle, following Hondo's lead to a rather gorgeous estate. This relatively small compared to the Grey Lady's former estate in its massive expanse of these beautiful gardens and all the pomp and circumstance that she once had. Now is just a relatively simple looking manor, though obviously very expensive. You make your way up to the knocker on the big black door at the front of her estate.
So Hondo, you stayed here last night? All right. Well, do you want to knock? Should we? How do you want to do this?
I will knock. So I'll knock the knocker.
Heavy, loud, kind of ringing knock. You hear it kind of echo throughout, and a moment passes, and you see a well-suited, kind of butler-like figure open the door. Human male, looks you over, recognizes Hondo with a wry kind of look and like half-raised eyebrow. It says, "Master Blue, welcome back. The lady is awaiting you and your companions in the conservatory."
Perfect.
And he kind of gestures for you to enter, and he kind of half leads, half follows, without saying another word. And as he leads you through, you all see the inside of this marble-floored interior. These like large, long drapes and tapestries hang on the wall. And you see some on some of the walls there are crossed swords, and there are crests and shields. There's a fine wooden piece that looks like it came from a ship, in which you can see the word Dusk Queen has been scrawled across and mounted up on the wall. But you make your way down into the conservatory, as Hondo recalls it, and the Grey Lady is sitting there alone. And again, the same kind of spread as before her, the same tea, the same kind of biscuits. Seems like a general entertaining type fare, though now there is this kind of roaring fire to the one side, and these like faint little like firefly lights are kind of circling around the room, and these kind of little drifting moves as she kind of sits back with a large glass of red wine. She stands in this relatively elegant looking silver gown and looks you all over. Says, "Welcome to all of you, and welcome again, Hondo." She gives you a little wink.
You couldn't keep us away.
I thought not. A pleasure. Please come sit. I'm sure Hondo here has informed you as to what it is I mentioned to him earlier today.
He kind of did, but sometimes he forgets details. So just to be clear, you took a shining to some of our shinier things.
Not so much it took a shining to them, but a recognition of them. They brought me back to some memories of my younger years, long past. The three you wear, though she looks at Mary and can see it vaguely beneath your cloak. Valentine, yours, I assume, is still just, you're wearing yours. And she has seen Whisper, obviously. She kind of looks across the three. And she just gestures for you all to sit. And there are wine glasses as well as tea if anyone is interested in any wine. There are a couple of unopened bottles, but they're there if you wish to help yourselves.
I'll just take the bottle.
She kind of winks at you again, and continues kind of sipping her wine. And just says, "When I was a younger adventurer, I ran with a group called the Sunrunners. We were not very much unlike yourselves, believed to be of a higher purpose. We sailed the seas, we traveled distant lands. We lived a relatively adventurous career. We earned much coin and traveled the world. But on our travels, we heard tell of some of these relics of a greater time before, of an ages long past, of power. And in truth, we sought them for ourselves to try and be better. But one of our group sought them for a higher purpose of his own. And I wonder if your purposes are not so different. If I may ask, why have you acquired 3? Why have you acquired any? Cannot be sheer happenstance.
In part, I think it's they acquired us as much as we acquired them. Feels like part of it was a calling to these individual ones. But as well, we need them. We need to be stronger. We need to be capable of more if we're gonna stop what's to come.
And what might that be?
Hell unleashed upon the material plane.
She cocks an eyebrow. These warnings of threats beyond our borders, they're not new. But why you? Why now?
Wish we had the answer to that. Truly. Sometimes I wish this wasn't something that was thrust upon us, that I could just be reading somewhere without a care in the world. But instead, it is a privilege to be among these wildcards and to be chosen for this. But I don't think there's any real reason aside from we're just very lucky, I guess.
A few things, Kyle. One, is she seem like she's wary of, like, is she just trying to check us out for like a worthiness thing, or what, like why she might be asking these questions? 2, did she believe Scott at all?
Make an insight check.
28.
Ooh.
Damn. The Grey Lady chooses her words very carefully, and she is relatively smooth in her delivery and questioning, and there seems to be a knowing probing of what it is she wants to get out of your response, or what she wants to clarify. She certainly believes what it is you're saying, and you sense the glare of like recognition.
But is it like protective rather than
more intrigue?
Okay, like genuine curiosity.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
a little bit of like wistfulness, but like still with the main intrigue.
Okay.
Your ladyshipness, do you believe in fate?
It's an interesting question. In truth, I think I believe more in destiny, more in that your choices lead you down a path of your choosing that may have been thought out before you and may have already been decided, but how you get there, that's more up to you. Fate is far more restrictive than I like to live.
Well, honestly, there's been too many coincidences in all of our lives that have led us together, so we kind of believe we've been destined or fated, shall you say.
That's a good way to put it. I have one last question, if you'll indulge me. Are any of you, how you would call faithful to, she kind of looks up to the sky, any particular deity?
Of course.
Who, may I ask?
I'm a champion of the Summer Queen.
Pardon, I meant of the greater pantheon of gods.
I guess partly with this Warden of the Fae, partly Melora, and then as well we've dabbled with Pelor, though I don't think anyone here is a true worshipper.
I've talked to Morden a few times.
Oh.
In truth, you say. She looks at you like with genuine, like, that's what I want to know.
Yeah. Kind of. Mm-hmm.
I'll look at like Mary's hand and kind
Yeah,
of touch her foot.
She'd be they're still wrapped.
Mhm.
She'll take a pause and try to watch her, basically do the insight check she already did. And then say there may be connections with others another that's not so in favor anymore, and just try to judge her reaction from that.
Say it again.
Another that's might not be so in favor anymore.
I gotcha.
Yeah, sorry.
She doesn't quite react or pick up on the specifics of who
Gotcha.
that may be,
Mm-hmm.
but still kind of drawn to Alana with the talk of Moradin. She now kind of focuses in and says, looking to Alana, but still talking to the group at large, she says, I was never one of faith myself, but someone I loved and lost certainly was. A devoted man. When we were the Sunrunners, eons ago, he had a dream. And in the dream, the Dawnfather spoke to him of a world dead. The light of the sun drained, and in its place, the sky and the land burned. Demons and devils warred on our home, and the gods were helpless. This vision haunted him for nights, for days, for weeks. He would turn to Pello for answers, and the only word ever granted in response was prepare. He swore on those dreams, and it led us on part of this life of adventuring. He knew that something was coming. He believed the Dawnfather was looking to prepare him, and perhaps us alongside him, or perhaps us as happenstance. It was our destiny to follow or to walk away from him, but it was his fate to claim to be the champion of Pello, to wield the Dawnbringer blade. We spent years traveling as the Sunrunners, but my Dario was obsessed. Sadly, those years proved fruitless. We sought items and power from scraps of information long lost to time. One of ours in our group, Oberon Abbotsford, was a bard, a champion storyteller, beautiful singing voice. He left us after the first year. Time, he said, to live a life and stop chasing the past. Oddly enough, he has since become a successful author. You may have heard of him. She kind of just throws out.
Do either of those names sound familiar? I feel like Oberon Abbotsford sounds familiar to me, but I'm not sure if that's...
Make a history check.
And the other one was Dario? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
History
Oberon,
check, oh god.
Oberon, not like Summer Queen's Oberon, right? Just perhaps a coincidence.
History?
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, I'd say that, and with like the constant thought, I'd say Valentine would pick up on that name as well. Indeed, a relatively successful author, a traditionally a children's book author. And Val, you the name kind of rings a bell faintly from memory of younger years reading. But Mary, you specifically recall an adventure on the seas with this particular group, encountering a young lost soul in the north, a young girl who was bound to this storybook, Adventures on the High Seas.
Oh, that was so long ago. That was pre-Allie.
We have that book. I have that.
I knew the name sounded familiar to Leah. I just couldn't figure out what it was. What was her name? Is it even
It's in my other book.
I was to say, is it even in this
It's
book?
in your other book.
Oh my god.
We were on a ship. Quick recap, Kyle. You want to give people a quick recap?
These guys were traveling from Arendelle to Rogue Point. They were on a ship called the North Wave with a crew of sailors. And in the traveling through the north is slightly more Arctic, and they wanted to keep from the coast. And through this Arctic adventure, they stumbled upon a banshee. And surrounding this banshee's kind of hunting ground almost, had left a small graveyard of ships beneath the ice, and they stumbled into a singular boat where this Jorhana, this ghostly girl, was found, and she happened to be tethered to this book at the bottom of the ocean in her ship, and they defeated the evil. They released Jorhana's soul. And Valentine kept the book as memento and memory.
I've read that book to people in this game.
It is very long ago. These guys were maybe level 5.
I think it was less than maybe.
Anyways.
Crazy.
You guys, the two of you recognize that name. As the Grey Lady kind of continued. Mary, also, the history check does not click anything for Dario, but you only have the name Dario.
Yeah. I was more like, I knew that I had heard
I know.
Oberon Adversary's
I just wanted to clarify that the Dario was included and you didn't recognize it, but it's only a first name.
It's a first name, yeah.
She continues, though, saying that once Oberon had left, there was still the three, herself, her partner Dario Kesros, a paladin of Pelor, and a wizard of their friend named Amadora. The three searched and tried to find the relics, these relics of heroes from the Silver Age, relics that some of which now you possess. She kind of does linger for a moment, looking towards Hondo, and whisper and says, I had always been intrigued by whisper. In truth, it just fit my motif. I had truly hoped to become the champion of shadow and death. But sadly, it was not meant to be. A title well earned. She kind of raises her glass to Hondo.
You would have had a long trip to get to that one. Not exactly somewhere you can reach with a boat.
It's interesting you talk about your dream, or the dream of Dario, because rather disturbingly, a couple nights ago I had a similar dream. It involved me sailing and an asteroid hitting from the sky, a flaming ball, fireball. And the words prepare were mentioned.
Then perhaps fate or destiny indeed is at play.
I mean, we are preparing for inevitable return of Raymond. Could that be it? Or is there something greater that we are not aware of yet?
If you speak of devils and hell, I have to assume there's something greater than an old wizard. Not without his strength.
Unless that old wizard is involved.
certainly possible. But the only relic we ever came to find was the Dawnbringer.
You found it.
We came to hold the blade of Alasir, the champion of Pellar, the first. It was my Dario's, perhaps not birthright, but he had been chosen. And this dream led him down this path, this faith in the Dawnfather. Sadly, the true tomb of Alasir lies on the Qatar shores. Notably, the Zentarum have warred with the champions of Pellar over the ages and combated one another back and forth for centuries. The Dawnbringer at the heart of this quarrel, and the many different treasures and troves within the Qadar shore and the shifting sands of Marrakesh. We were only the latest to take up the call. Sadly, we were outmatched by the forces there. Amadora fell. Dario and I barely walked away, but even still, Dario was mortally wounded. And even the light of the dawn could not bring him back. I buried him. No, it's a long time ago. But I buried him near the tomb and took this hilt of a blade that we found. I had no will to wield it, but I kept it all the same in memory of him. It was stolen only a few short years later, unfortunately. However, by that time, I'd acquired many ears to the ground, so to speak, and many friends in shadowy places. I knew they'd taken it to the Underdark. I hunted them down to retrieve it myself, but foolish I was, young, brash. Thought I could reacquire it myself. I learned my lesson, and I withdrew. But I have never stopped watching. And it has not moved from the Underdark since. Of that I am sure. There's a city of slavers and traders known as Mantle Dareth in the Underdark. A veritable hive mind of scum and villainy. But that is where it lies.
Whereabouts would be the nearest entrance to that Underdark city?
There was a reason for establishing Rogue Point. A watchful eye. Wasn't far from there. Along the coast. There's a way.
What would be the purpose of holding it there? Is it just a prize?
I think you would be surprised at some who pride themselves on holding a piece of genuine arcana in history and never even wielding it. Someone of shadow who would wish to hold the light away from those who would better use it to better the world. Those in Mantle Dareth are, well, they're total dicks. They would absolutely do something like that. We had scraps of a couple others, but hardly ever many more. I know not if any of you here would even wield this blade, but if ever you come across it, if ever you make your way to the Underdark, the city is where it will be held. I give you my blessing for Dario's sake, if any of you do pick it up, it's yours.
This is incredibly valuable information. And should we reclaim it, we would come back here to show you that it no longer lies there.
Just seeing it would be nice. If it would intrigue you even more, I have some old information of 2 others.
Please.
3 technically.
3's great. We would, just so you know, if it's slave trading, we might have to give up Hondo to reclaim the Dawnbringer.
Such is business, such is life.
I was hoping you'd say that. Sorry, pal.
I'm sure he'll find a way out. Amandora had always had her eye on the staff of Mordenkainen.
Mm-hmm.
Something she had always hoped to wield and hold and become Mistress Chosen. However, our ability to divine its location was one of our most fruitless endeavors. Months in the frozen wastes to the north, searching, hoping, wandering. I'm sure you know at least that it very likely was last seen in the Alabaster Tower.
Mm-hmm.
The Alabaster Tower has not been seen since the Battle of Dragon's Rend, some centuries. Either it's still floating in the northern expanse, or when Mordenkainen and the Circle fell with it, it came crashing down and now lays buried beneath ice and snow. As I say, we searched and divined its location for months in those bloody wastes, but it's out there somewhere, I'm sure of that. At least it's a direction to go.
No, that is helpful.
Lastly, mentioning Oberon, he had always been intrigued by a story, one of his best, I ever thought. A story of a champion who could not die, in need of a fitting end. Oberon always told it best. He wrote about it in Adventures on the High Seas.
I have that book.
Then perhaps you have the passage within.
I'll take it out. I think it's in here somewhere.
You pull it from your bag, and as you kind of begin flipping through it, the book you have is indeed, you can see the cover, Adventures on the High Seas, Oberon Abbotsford. However, it has sustained significant water damage.
It's a little warped.
She says, in truth, I'm sure you could acquire a better copy in the city or nearby. However, he still lives in the slumbering isles north of Verdantia. I keep in contact with him every so often. If ever you needed the proper tale told, that's where I would go.
A really wordy guy near Verdantia. Sounds right. You mentioned potentially another?
Well, in truth, there lies 2. The champion who could not die needed a fitting end in the seas. I believe, as the story goes, the ravenous maw, the kraken, took him, and the 2 relics that he carried.
The hammer and the belt?
Stormbreaker and the Belt of the Tempest, indeed.
Hondo, you know anything about gaping maw or krakens? I know little of the seas, but it doesn't sound good.
I would have encountered a kraken or something, right?
You would have heard, at the very least. If you want to go ahead and make a history check for me.
Sure.
Sorry, what was the name of the was Slumbering Isles? Is that what you said? Okay, thank you.
So 14, and my history check is 3. 17 total.
You don't remember the name, the Ravenous Maw, more than what you guys have learned about this. You've heard that name through talking either with Uth or reading through the book or from Bahamut. It's come up in various small ways. But in really thinking about it and in the connection to Adventures on the High Seas and just trying to put yourself back in that mind, remembering, almost drawn from the dream that you had of sailing before its inevitable end, you remember two things. You remember a place that was spoken of in like legend and in song, many different kind of pirate songs of Seafarer's End. This perpetual graveyard that a great beast prowled. Darkness hung in the sky. Whirlpools abound, maelstroms, storms like none you've ever encountered. And then you're caught within and pulled beneath. Never seen again. You remember an old kind of song or tale, and it kind of comes to you in like faint memory, this kind of, it just vaguely coming to you, just rising up from the depths below. Seafarer's End will be yours too. Rising up, maw drawn wide. Oh, how many here have died. Rising up, death comes swift. The kraken awaits a dead man's skiff. You remember hearing that being sung almost in a challenge by other pirates to the seas in a storm.
I just pictured the Hobbit song, The Misty Mountains.
Yeah, that would fit.
Kyle, you're just killing the game right now. You're killing it. Jesus.
Thanks.
God, I never want to do that. Did you say that out loud, Honda? Because that sounds terrible.
You don't want to ever encounter a kraken.
Yeah, you have never encountered a kraken directly.
I've heard many a tale, and I can say that while I would not avoid the oceans, I would certainly keep an eye out.
You know, if you had a different kind of ship, maybe that'd be easier.
Like a flying ship?
Maybe.
You'll
Actually,
have to go beneath.
we should ask about that. My lady, do you know anything about procuring a ship that could either fly at great heights or great depths below the water?
And of
We've
course,
encountered one such vehicle before.
And of course, so
So
is the
have I.
Free Lady. It destroyed her former city, and I'm sure she hates whoever
I've been on,
it or is associated with
I'm
them.
trying not to be so negative here, okay? I'm trying to avoid this delicate topic.
unfortunately, there's no avoiding this one. I have only ever witnessed that one in its destructive might. I've never sailed the top one. My pursuits have only been at sea level. That was the first I've ever seen. If you ever were to acquire it, I would much like a ride.
Same. This was incredibly helpful. We have a lot of things that we want to accomplish, a lot of things we want to do, but high on our list is finding more of these relics for the wars to come.
I have to imagine they would be incredibly useful and incredibly powerful, more than just the scope in which they encompass. There's true power in them. I may not have truly wielded Dawnbringer, but even simply holding it, there is old magic in it. Powerful magic.
I like the sound of that.
I'm sure in all three of these you already wear. That old magic is what you'll need in whatever it is you wish to face, should it be so world-ending.
Well, should we have a bite at least and talk of more pleasant things?
If it's all the same to you. I had hoped this would be a more joyous talk, but the memories are still bitter even after all this time.
It's fine. We can give you some space. We appreciate you sharing.
I apologize. I did invite you in with intent for dessert and drink, merriment. I didn't realize how heavy this still weighed on me.
We've seen what can happen when someone lays with Hondo, so this is not unexpected. Regret. Shame.
No regret here.
Well, maybe Hondo will give you guys a moment if you want, but we can skedaddle.
We do have further business in the city.
You don't forget that we were gonna eat here.
There's food on the way.
I'm starving.
Okay, yes.
Get to go. Get to go.
Pardon me?
Milady, you won't mind if we take some stuff to go, you know.
No, we don't want to put her out. She only brought like finger foods. I'm like hungry.
Yeah, there's just like some like dessert foods. Like this is after dinner.
Yeah, we'll take as much as you can hold.
She gestures to help yourselves.
If I can put a tree in my bag of holding.
It's not very filling food. It's mostly like small finger like desserts. There's wine.
Can I pull her aside? I have to ask something.
I'll turn around and just leave. That's fine. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, as she kind of gestures and then kind of takes a couple of steps towards the far end of the conservatory, just kind of looking out into the garden behind.
I'm just going to ask, lady, you have been a wonderful presence while I've been here in Arendelle. But as you know, a lot still awaits. Whether it is defeating Raymond or procuring artifacts. I have ordered some items that will inevitably help on these journeys to ensure that maybe, I can survive and come back here. But I may have stretched myself a bit.
She's literally pulling the sugar mommy thing. This is amazing.
She does kind of break a smile and says, that's certainly one way to alleviate the memory of lovers past with the reminder of current lovers and all the dangers they bring. You're in need of money.
If just to borrow, I have wealth. It's just it's locked up in a lot of things, and being a traveler, I can't access it all the time. So if you could just lend me some, I will pay you back, and then some.
I'll hold you to it. How much do you need?
Oh my god.
You don't have to reveal this to us if you just want to.
You can text me if you want.
No, it's okay. I'll start high. Would 1,200 gold be a lot?
It's a lot.
She says, That interest is going to come with some very heavy spanking.
Hondo.
Give me a moment. And she leaves the room, draining her wine, setting the wine glass down as you guys are kind of gathering in the hall.
That's
She-
really nice that
She
Hondo
makes
is
her way just about past you and says, "Fucking Tritons." Makes her way off to the right for a brief moment, returns, collecting her heels back down the hall, shakes her head once more, goes towards Hondo, and flips you a small leather satchel.
What did he ask for?
I will remember that interest.
You will not be sorry.
Well,
This will help. If it won't save my life, it will at least save someone else's.
I have enough money to not worry about such little things as this. If it can bring you some pleasure and hopefully some ability to protect this world of ours, then it's money well spent.
I best join my friends, but I will be back.
I think that wise. Good night, Hondo.
Good night.
I thought he was comforting her, but she seemed upset when she passed. Oh, he's coming back. Hey, is everything good?
Everything is well. I had a talk with her, and she seems to be in better spirits.
Oh, it's not really the read I had, but you know her better than I do.
She liked you guys. I will tell you, she did like the company. She liked you.
Oh, it's so great to hear. Well, we have a Archmage's Tower to try and break into. You guys want to hit it? We do need to get some sort of like slice on the way.
There are so many places on the way to eat. Like we're in the fancy ass part of town. I guarantee that there's something to your tasting.
I could faint. I'm that hungry.
Yeah, as you guys make your way and do find some delicious food, it is going to cost. It's late and it is Upper Arendelle. For anything you're looking for, you're looking at 5 gold a head.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, they're fucking charging you out the ass at this point in time.
Jesus.
I'll pay
But-
for it.
You guys have money, so
Party gold, I'll pay for it.
that would be 30 gold for everyone to indulge.
That's so expensive in real people money.
I wonder if they have milkshakes here.
What is that?
Wait, if you
Exactly.
just-
You have to
Are we paying
experience
for
that.
food? And then they said at the tower you can just get whatever food you want as we're eating.
You think I would last to the tower from
Oh
here?
my god,
I'm
you're not.
wilting.
I mean, you're small, but you're not like that skinny. Like
This
you're
is lean muscle mass. It needs to be given fuel. I thought we were gonna have an extravagant meal based on the way Hondo talked about last night. Instead, I'm giving what? Little hors d'oeuvres?
We got plenty of information, and
Right.
some of it. Elena, you had that journal, that book.
Yeah.
Some of it, I think we. Well, I mean, I think we can all guess who the champion that couldn't die and needed an end is.
That big dude, right? Ragnar? No.
Yeah. Ragnar Stormborn.
Don't you wield one of his... Is Stormcrag his, or is that someone else's? Someone else's, don't worry about it.
He's the one who was. I can't remember her name.
But they were boys, they used to ride together.
Can I find it? It's so far ago.
I know. I was just gonna say,
Don't worry
it's
about
like
it.
You guys actually looking for the name is Torrin Cragjaw.
Stormcrag, we all know it.
Oh no, I was looking for the name of his of the woman who had the mantle of the phoenix. I can't remember her name.
Oh, Castiel.
yeah.
Mantle of the Phoenix also cool. Do we have a read on that? It was like a volcano, shit happened.
Yeah, that's why you guys
like,
haven't heard anything
She
further.
exploded, and they were a thing, and he
That's
got all.
not great.
He
They're-
kind of disappeared after that.
Their Phoenix baby.
Their Phoenix baby died.
Not good. What do you guys think the easiest one to be? Like, do you think there's one that's just like sitting somewhere we could just like grab?
I mean, no, someone else would have done that. Or they have, and they put it somewhere far worse.
Okay, right.
I don't know. I mean, we can talk more about this in a few days, but we need to set priorities. At least we have somewhat of a read on that staff. I mean, I don't know much about magic, but it seems like there's a couple of you who could probably benefit from it.
The Mordenkainen one sounds sweet, except the complete lack of knowing where the hell it is in a frigid wasteland sounds terrible. Remember the Feywild, how cold it was? Oof. My skin, it got so red and chafed. It was just really not pleasant.
So we need to find the one with the most moderate temperature.
That's right.
Gotcha.
The sea salt air is also bad for my hair, so maybe not the...
Volcanoes are nice and warm.
It's either that or the Underdark.
Underdark's curious to me. I'm
How is that the one you're okay with?
Yeah.
I get to sell Hondo to some traders and try and exchange. Could be interesting. Why don't we go to this tower, guys?
At this point, you guys have reached the tower over your walk, fed and ready. You make your way to the bottom of the tower, at which you can see Arthur is kind of outside, just like kind of looking at the tower. As you approach, you see him, his back turns. He turns and looks at you and kind of nods his head. Well, about that time.
Just a quick thing. Hondo, this is your specialty. Infiltration, Raymond shit. You've always had a sixth sense about that. I would just caution, this reminds me of dungeon delving way back in the Abyss, where who knows what sinister, spooky traps this crazy archmage has laid for us. So everyone, it's just a good reminder. Let's be careful in there. Let's be on guard and make sure nothing sneaks up on us.
Let's also not alert anything that could be there, that we might be there as well until we absolutely need to, which just means, like, use your indoor voice, maybe. And I look at a couple members of our party who have a history of just, shouting.
Who do you look at?
Absolutely, you and Hondo.
Appearing behind Raleigh. Who do you look at?
Why are you looking at me?
And then Art.
And me.
Arthur, is Eli and Aurora in there?
They're waiting for us.
All right, you guys ready? Anything you want to prepare before we go in?
We have some small preparations to do inside. I was just waiting for you guys out here just to make sure that there's no confusion.
Arthur.
Yeah?
Let's say you weren't selected to be the next leader of this college. Who would you choose between Aurora and Eli?
In truth, I hadn't thought about it. I'm rather competitive myself, if I'm honest.
Can relate.
Difficult to say who you would go for if not yourself. But sitting back objectively, they both have their merits. Eli is a strong-willed figure. He works twice as hard as any of us, and even if he believes he has to work twice as hard, he has not found it quite as easy as myself or Aurora. Things came a lot easier to us. They kind of slipped into place. He had to struggle and fight his way. But even still, he stands beside us as equals. Aurora is a brilliant arcanist. Magic flows within her veins as well as much as blood. But I admit her age puts her at a slight disadvantage in worldly knowledge. She can be naive and too trusting. And as a teacher, that can be a good tool. But as a leader, that can be folly.
That's great insight. I appreciate that.
The three of you have been working together now for a while. Does that work well?
Some mild disagreements, but when you have several strong-willed individuals in one small space, there are going to be arguments. So far, so good, though, I believe.
Great.
Yes, if there. Yes, let's reconvene with Aurora and Eli. We have a small preparatory magic, and then if there's anything last things you have, I'd say that would be the time. Follow me. He walks towards the just wall, and just immediately, like there's no particular space, and you see him draw his hand just kind of out, and as he kind of clenches it, you see the staff just form out of midair. And he taps the staff 3 times against the stone, and you just see the door just kind of drift in, just from stone to open doorway. In a short amount of time, you are gathered once more in the kind of training room, this workshop room, and you see Eli and Aurora kind of standing near, about 10 feet back from the space of the wall that Mary and Hondo detected was a little amiss. But they both turn towards you. You can see immediately neither are smiling, neither are super excited about this, but they both look determined as they both kind of nod to you. Arthur kind of reconvenes with everybody and says, I have an ability, a spell. We all do, but I will be performing it. If you wish, it could be of aid to us all within. It's a common practice between us, establishing a telepathic link between one another.
Cool.
In the event that we get separated in some way, or cannot see one another, or need to be quiet, this can certainly be of aid. And in truth, if we take a short amount of time, I can do it without expending any of my energies. And if you're willing, of course.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense.
I think it'd be beneficial.
When you say telepath, is it voluntarily sharing thoughts? Because I don't really want to be in Hondo's head all the time. It's a scary place.
It requires active communication, though those who are far more free thinkers may find it much easier to unintentionally air your thoughts. So perhaps guard yourselves. He looks at Hondo, then kind of looks at Lavender too.
I was gonna say, I'm imagining Lavender's stream of consciousness.
I'm like
coming
hardly
through
paying
to
attention.
everybody else at
Why
all
are you
times.
looking at me now?
Raleigh's kind of like, oh no, I know. Don't think.
He says, this will take about 10 minutes here, so prepare yourselves how you see fit. But if you can stay within 30 feet of me roughly, I will be able to connect us all. And he immediately just kind of, his staff holds still, but he sits in a kind of meditative stance and his eyes just kind of close. And you just see this kind of faint dots of arcane energy begin to kind of form around his head.
I'm going to heal Hondo. First level Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Yeah, forgot he was hurt.
So that's 8, and I'll just cast another. It's my pact magic.
Would he have had time to short rest that at some point?
You guys have been pretty actively doing shit, and you
That's
didn't
true.
say it, so no.
And 9. So 17 total back to you.
Thank you.
No problem, buddy. So we got some potions, y'all. Us magic-y folk can do some healing. But Brawley, Gordo,
I'll be right back.
Mary, maybe you want some of these.
Yeah, so you said you got 5, right? 1 second, let me look. I think I might still... I have 1. Brock, you have a couple, right? Or did you use them?
I think I have a few. I'll have to check.
I have 1 in D&D Beyond. I have a potion of greater healing that I never ended up needing to use in the last fight yet. I think Allie's out.
I'm out. I used my last one on Val in our last fight.
Right.
We could give...
My last one I gave it to Hondo for something.
I have 1.
We're back.
So, 2 potions to you, Brawley. Gordo. 2 potions.
Regular healing?
Yep, 2 regulars to Brawl, 2 regular to Gordo, 1 regular to Mary, because Mary has another potion. So we're fairly confident, being conservative. Everyone, now the non-casters, aside from Gordo, have 2 potions each, which is good. The non-healers, I guess you could say, with healing magic. And Gordo, what did you do magic-wise with attunement? Maybe just tell the viewers.
I took off my Soulbreaker chains and added in 1 second. Oh god. My Ring of Evasion.
Oh,
Perfect.
did anyone else do anything? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that was it.
Was there any Scott, this happened technically on camera, but like you healed Hondo for 2 spells to get him back to full after being poisoned earlier. Is there any other almost full? He's off by like 5. Is there any other preps that you're doing now, or is everybody just waiting for this telepathic bond to kick?
Do you want to take? I'm taking Fernie Boy with me. Brawl, do you want to take Keith with you, or do you want to leave him here?
I would have said, I should have said this at the beginning. It's always very difficult to remember your pets. They are too big to get through like the main entrance.
No worries.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And like, just in case like the floor falls or something, I could see that happening.
They're just staying outside then.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're going to be too big, and like some of these passageways are like too small for their big asses.
That's all
I'm thinking of a play date.
Yeah, they're just chilling outside, having a lovely, just sitting looking out at the north wind. Cute little date.
Oracle stay with Lav.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. These kind of geometric shapes that have slowly taken form in front and circling the head of Arthur as he's kind of sitting in this eyes closed meditative stance flare with this kind of faint bluish light, and each one kind of hits the forehead of each of you in turn, and Aurora and Eli. And there's just this faint kind of like very cold, like a big snowflake just touches you right in the front of your forehead and then slips all the way through your brain. This like faint cold shiver runs through to the back of your skull, and it feels super weird. And then you hear in your mind across the board, well, that should do it. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm going to take it by your horrified expressions that you can hear me in your head.
Yeah.
It worked. Excellent.
With our earring thing, it's different.
If you're ever curious, I find if I do this sometimes and then speak, it helps.
Okay, that's helpful.
He lifts his staff from its kind of erect position in the ground. Aurora, you see draw from her, let's like side beneath her robe. She has this kind of wand sheath that she draws a wand from. And Eli has his spell book kind of before him, kind of faintly kind of floating alongside him. He looks to Arthur and then to the rest of you and says, well, I'm not going to be first. I'll tell you that. Arthur.
If you want someone who's first through the door, I know just the guy. And I'll just unsheath Aetherius and then turn to Hondo.
Arthur looks to Hondo as well then and says, I'll go alongside you, my friend. The door is not locked here. However, as I said previously, all we await is blindness, and then, well, in truth, I don't know much more beyond flying things and some large creature of some kind.
Do we want to, just while you say how impenetrable this fog is, would it be an insane idea to have some sort of rope tethered to us so we don't get lost here?
If you wish to, in truth, I would untether myself from that. Not in fear of splitting off, but in fear of impairing my own movement.
Yeah, I would be a little nervous if we end up getting into a fight, that we're all going to be a little stuck. Maybe just everyone pick a buddy for now?
Yeah, I like that.
Eli slides forward a little bit and says, in truth, I hope for this fog to dissipate rather quickly once I enter.
Okay.
I intend to try and dispel and remove it from our vision for a time. We'll see if that works.
Yeah, let's do it then. But I think buddy system's good too.
I agree. Perhaps we pair up.
Lav will clamp onto Brawley. Don't worry, I'll protect you, Brawley.
Arthur looks to Hondo then and kind of puts a hand out. Says, all right, first to the door then. Aurora slides over towards Mary, and Eli kind of drifts towards Valentine.
You want to partner up?
If you're willing to, and I also prefer to stay in the back if that's all the same to you.
Yep, and another guy who stays in the back can be the third member of our little duo here, my pal Gord.
He looks over at Gord, and Aurora over to Mary is also looking at Gord, but is like, I'm kind of afraid of him.
He doesn't do himself any. I think he likes people being afraid of him, but don't worry. He does some freaky shit, but it's helpful.
Okay, whatever you say. But buddies.
Sure.
With Hondo, then Arthur reaches forward, and it's a double door, so he gestures for you to grab the other side, and you kind of put your hand through this illusion of stone, and you do find like a heavy circle of iron, and with a nod, you both pull the doors open, and they swing into the room, and with them, you watch this kind of these spiral strands of thick fog or smoke kind of roll out along the floor, maybe about a foot or two beyond the illusion. And you see these kind of just faint swirls spin out and then drift away. And immediately, Hondo, on the other side, you can see the stone of an archway of a hall, but immediately just a wall of white, thick fog. You can see maybe a foot of like stone on the ground, and it's just impassable. Arthur kind of looks to you and just begins kind of slowly taking a step across the threshold and making his way through. With a hand kind of faintly out in your direction, just kind of almost like feeling for where you are. He keeps his other arm up onto the wall, and he begins to make his way forward. Go ahead and make a perception check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Ooh. Well, it's a disadvantage.
19 first roll.
It's still good.
Pretty good.
And perception, I think, is, yes, it's 12. So 26.
Still good. Through the fog, you have some experience in traveling through fog on the ships. When a thick fog settles in around a boat, you almost heighten your perception, which is why you have such high perception. You heighten your all your other senses beyond sight to try and navigate through this sense of touch, this smell and sound. And immediately, as the two of you cross threshold, you see nothing. It is an opaque nothingness. You're more or less blind. However, immediately as soon as you cross the threshold, you can hear dead silence, then slowly begins to kind of come to life. You can hear the shifting of creaking wood. You can hear the faint kind of chink of metal. You hear like a swish, and then another swish, and then another swish, the tinkling of glass. From nothing to a kind of array of different sounds. About 60 feet in front of you, if you had to wager, but it could be as close as 30. How echoey the stone here is. It's a little difficult to tell, even with that high perception. There are things moving within the fog. Who follows in behind Arthur and Hondo?
I can go in next.
Aurora follows your lead, and you both make your way in, and you're about maybe 5 foot of separation between you. So Hondo, you and Arthur are at about the 15-foot mark. Eli shouts from the back beside you, Valentine, and says, "Well, do you see anything? Is it just fog?"
Everything's just flat. Can we hear anything else outside of what Hondo's? He already did the perception check.
So far, Hondo's the only one who hears that.
Gotcha. It's pretty fucking white.
Arthur calls back and says, "At least 15 feet in here and still nothing. If you're going to do something, I would suggest now." Eli,
why don't we get in there too, so we can help this out?
Eli kind of shifts, like kind of floating forward, just ahead of you, Valentine and Brawley and Lavender and Gord, ahead of the four of you. And he holds his hand outward. Says, "Well, let's give this a shot." Almost to himself. And attempts to dispel magic, the fog. He's going to cast that.
Stay frosty, guys.
Oh, you poor bastard.
Oh, no.
Val, you watch as he drifts just beyond the illusion so that he's targeting the right thing. But he's still like keeping himself, part of him is still through this illusion. And you can, now that it's been pointed out, all of you can kind of see faintly through the wall and see still just fog. Like you don't see a whole lot, but you can see white beyond this illusion. And he reaches his hand out and you see this magic kind of coalesce around his hand in like almost a Doctor Strange style. And he twists his hand and then grips.
Eli, is that it?
It's a powerful enchantment. Perhaps we just try a little longer with the fog.
Sure.
Hondo beside you, Arthur, just grumbles, just fucking. And he slowly pushes his way forward. Yes. Aurora, give your thing a shot. Aurora, as you guys are slowly creeping closer. Hondo, you feel something moving close to you, relatively quietly, but something moves close to you on your left. Mary, you've moved in about 15 feet at this point to allow everyone to kind of continue forward. Hondo and Arthur have moved about 20, 25-ish feet into the room. Just this very slow prodding kind of into the fog. Hands outstretched, completely blind.
I'm going to yell, who's there? Show yourself.
Hondo, you just immediately turn and shout. As Mary, you hear Hondo shout, and you feel something like brush past you.
I let out a very long sigh, just remembering to use your indoor voices lecture I gave about 30 seconds ago.
This is going as expected.
Hondo, you see through the fog, now that you have a direction to look. As Mary, you feel Aurora beside you begin kind of swirling her hands around, and you can see some of the fog around her. You can kind of faintly make her out. You see the fog around her begin to kind of swirl around, and directly from behind, Val, as you're moving in as well, you can see the fog kind of spinning up in this faint like whirlwind that is kind of dissipating around. You see Aurora as she kind of casts a spell, and you just see this kind of spin of wind, and all around all of you this wind just kind of begins to kick up, and the fog becomes ever so faintly dispersed in about a 5-foot space around her. So Mary, you can see around her as the two of you are right at the edge of where the end of this hallway enters into the larger room. Hondo and Arthur have been moved a little ahead, and Mary, as you now with sight, you look, and to your right, you see what looks like a tapestry on the wall. It's a kind of red and a gold trim. You can see this faint kind of design on the face, these kind of gold tassels hanging down. Hondo, as you look to your left, this sound that drew your attention, you immediately begin to see two large red beams of red light as a sword heavily chops down towards you, and Mary, this rug
Yep.
on the wall and surrounds you. And that's where we're going to pick up next time.
Remember the last time we broke into a wizard's place?
Yeah.
And we had a suit of armor attack us and a giant rug attack us?
Like deja vu.
I recall that part because Hondo threw fire at it while I was trapped inside the rug.
Actually, you know what? Before we fully cut, let's see the eventuality of both those things. And then we'll
Yeah.
So
I'm
Mary,
not Raymond.
sorry, Ken, what'd you say?
I'm confident it's not Raymond.
Well, that's
Probably not. Hondo, this
Mephisto.
sword comes down at you, a 19 to hit,
A 19 is my AC.
and only a 17 on the second one. So the first attack does hit you. Hondo, you suffer 8 points of slashing damage.
Ooh-wee.
As this long sword collides with you, and as you are trying, actually hit advantage on that one.
get a crit. Come on now.
Just does. It's 14. The second blade, as it pierces into you, caught off a little by guard, it pulls back and swings for a second strike, and you manage to just bring your blade up to parry enough in time. As Mary, have the rug of smothering.
Fuck this.
What a name.
Mary,
You had a dimension door out of it last time.
Yeah.
I don't have that gem anymore.
Yeah.
okay, that is going to be a 20 total. to hit.
Oh, that is my AC.
Wait. Can I cut this?
You are
You don't-
blind.
You don't know that it's happening.
You don't see
Oh, the
it.
whirlwind didn't do it?
You can
Whirlwind
only just see Mary, and it's like just all kind of happening simultaneously. I would say you do not have the reaction time as you're just coming into this blind. You are grappled by this rug. It just smothers around Mary. It begins to immediately just kind of encase her in the rug. The rug entirely forms to her. And that is where we'll pick up.
Oh,
This is why we do not yell.
It didn't matter.
fuck. Yeah, they were going to
That's
come
true.
and get us.
I know.
You gotta spook them. You gotta show them.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as the Wildcards get back to business and alongside new arcane allies agree to liberate the College of Whitethorn. There will be a new episode up every Tuesday, so stay tuned. But until then, keep exploring.